sure we get the likes up. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. It's too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out, how did we get here? I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tej Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tej Hanley. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tej Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tej. Let the Tej force be with you. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Let me introduce the crew. We got Trill, we got Rilla, we got Ricky, we got Shan, Humble Dad, Sir Hell Speaks, Sage Talk with Lee, and me myself from Lapeef JI. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's happening?
Doing well.
What's going on?
Shannon, how you doing?
Doing well.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, Shannon, how are you?
Hey, Sage, how are you, boss? Man, we
Good.
got our panel to look like, man. We got the man. I had to put out the bat signal and call everybody in, man. We got to have a meeting. Yeah, it seemed like some folks been out there being filthy. Church say amen.
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 I can only say amen if I agree.
Ashe, Amun, all that. This is my favorite day of the week, man. I was glad when they said unto me, "Let us go into the house of the Lord."
Oh my,
The Lord.
Get it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Let's
what I'm
get it,
talking
gentlemen.
about.
Oh, man.
I was almost confused for a second. That's an Adidas. I thought that was a tree, Rilla. Speaking of trees, I see Trill got the trees in the back. I see you. I see you, man. That's a whole lot of green on the stage tonight. That's what I'm talking about. I'll make sure I take some notations of that just in case I got to call the peoples. You feel me? All right, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in. It's definitely going to be a great show tonight. I'm going to run down real quick how this show is going to go. So originally, and it's cool, you know, sometimes these things happen. I posted this show. We're going to talk about gender fluid. And so it was said that that's what they said, but now it's allegedly. Either way, it don't even matter because we wasn't going to hone in specifically on their situation. I just think it's unique because there are some people that are out here that are raising their kids to be gender fluid. So I think it'd be a great conversation. But we're going to kick the conversation off by discussing these things first. How to conquer fear, overcoming rejection. We're going to jump into the gender fluid, and then we're going to end it by discussing what is good character. And so this is what men do. We come and we talk, man. This is going to be some great information that's out there. It's our opinions, our perspectives. Nothing is fact, which is cool. But maybe we can open up some of you guys' minds to possibly look at what you're doing, maybe think differently, move differently, whatever it may be. Either way, it's going to be a great show. So let's get this show started, man. Let's get this show started. Moving on to where's my manners? Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Hanley. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Members, I do see you in the chat right now. You know, I got to send out that green for y'all. Appreciate you guys. There you go. I do see the members. We love the members. If you want to become a member and go green, hit that join button. Hit that join button. Refresh your screen. Go to, and periodically I'll drop it out throughout the chat. But I do see some of the green. Miss Park, I see you. Stephen Day, I see you. Stephen Day. Just Right Music, I see you. These are members. So if you see them green, they part of the green gang. All right, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Our first topic of the night, how to conquer fear. How to conquer fear. It's a lot of men that I speak with and I see often, including myself at some point in time in my life, where we experience fear and we don't know how to process it. We don't even know how to recognize it at times. And sometimes it's just, we don't know how to navigate through it. So I kind of want to discuss with the gentleman on the platform right now, how to conquer fear. I'm going to start with you, Ricky. How to conquer fear.
What's happening? Fear to me is simply the lack of faith.
We get everybody mute in between. Get some feedback.
It's simply the lack of faith, right? For you to conquer your fear, you got to have faith in yourself. You got to have faith in that the situation is going to work out the way you plan it, right? So first, you have to learn to manage your fear before you conquer it too. You have to realize that this is something that bothers you or something that triggers you. And then some people say take the appropriate steps, but me, I like to try to just get into it head on because, hey, what's the worst that could happen, right? I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you end up at the same spot you was at, right? So, like I said before, everything's a risk. Everything requires risk. It's crazy how everybody talk about this stuff every day, but don't live by it, right? Scared money don't make no money, right? Right? Everybody use these sayings and soliloquies, but they never live by or even attempt to go because it's outside of their comfort zone. Like you said, because either it's fear or doubt or whatever. You know, I look at them as almost the same thing. But first, you got to have faith in yourself. You got to manage it and acknowledge that this is something you need to work on or that you're so-called afraid of. And then you just conquer it. Like I said, I said it on the last live we had here. You know, Nike been telling you forever, just do it. Sometimes you just got to go do it and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, I like that. Humble Dad, how to conquer fear.
Well, you know, everybody has a different perspective, obviously. I would say, you know, fear is a lack of information. Meaning, like, if I am afraid, it's because there's some information that I'm missing for me in order to move forward. So I give a case in point. Like when I first started teaching, I had this fear of teaching geometry because the geometry teacher that I had did a really bad job, or I just didn't pay attention well. And so when I was about to teach, I had this fear because I was like, I'm going to do a really horrible job and I'm going to fail the kids, and then it's going to look bad on me. But then when I went to go to learn the information and see the steps in order to get to the answer, I seen for myself that it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. And so as a result, I moved forward because I had the information. So I would say that fear can be overcome by gathering more information on what it is that you want to accomplish.
All right. Real quick, Ricky, you have an example of A time where you had to conquer fear?
Man, I mean, how I can most associate it with is just when I was 17, I had made my first child and didn't know, I was irresponsible, didn't know which way was up. You know what I'm saying? I had to find a way to try to take care of my child, and you know, you can go out there and hustle on them streets. You can, you know, work a 9 to 5, or you could, you know, y'all know how it go. You could do whatever, right? But I made the decision to go to the military, and I ain't gonna lie, I was scared out my wits at first. You know what I mean? I was scared out my wits. Like I said, you know, when I had enlisted, you get a certain amount of days before you can say, hey, this is the one I want to do, da 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 da. I was in that window. I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like I had to do it because I had no other choice. Right. I had no other choice at that time, because I didn't know how I was going to provide for my child. I know how I was going to provide with my son. So I just ate it. I just went into it, you know, just 2 feet into the pool. It didn't matter to me at that point, because I knew I had something to do. You know, necessity has a way of kicking the fear out of you. Right. So like I said, you gotta use those things as motivation to like I said, not conquer it, because you can't really conquer it till you in it and you realize, like Humble Dad said, you got the information to understand, hey, this is the way things works. You know, I have an understanding of it. At that point, what is there to be scared of? You know, it's kind of like when you was little and you're like, leave the night light on, till you found out wasn't no monsters under the bed, right? So you just, like I said, to me, in my personal opinion, in my life, I just jump into things. And if I lose, I lose sometimes. Right? We all take L's. You know, everybody but Shannon, but you know, the rest of us, we take L's. So
What?
All right. Sir Hell Speaks. I want you to answer this question before I get to you. Well, not a question, a statement. They said fear is ultimately insecurity, aka lack of confidence. You think that's true?
I don't think that's true. I think that you got to go through the initial feelings of fear. Like this is unavoidable. You're gonna go through those initial feelings of. Where my manners at? JR, salute to you, man. I appreciate you having me on the platform tonight, guys. Salute to the fellas on here, to the chat. Now let me get back to the question. So, no, I don't think that it's a lack of security. I think that you have to go through the initial feelings first. You have to feel it. You have to experience that so that you can develop the strength to overcome that. So I don't think that fear in and of itself is that. I think that if you have the opportunity to learn more and to overcome something and you choose not to, then I do think that that is fear. But the initial feelings of that is not insecurity. As a matter of fact, sometimes your insecurity is necessary to move you to do something different, because you won't overcome it unless you step out of your comfort zone and do something. So it can't just be insecurity. I think that that's just the feeling in the process of overcoming that.
Okay. What about you, Shan? How to conquer fear?
There we go. Can you hear me? Test 1, 2. Fear. I teach the people that listen to me that fear is fake, and fear is a product of your imagination. It causes you to worry about things that not at present may or may never exist. I learned that from the movie After Earth. In fact, that's one of the movies that we watch over on my channel. After Earth, with Will Smith in 2013, with his son Jaden Smith, where he explains that fear is not real. Fear is just a product of your imagination about something that may or may never actually happen. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. And he says, don't get me wrong, you know, danger is very real, but fear is a product of your imagination. And so that's something that stuck with me a long time. I've always felt that way, even years back when I was in the military, years back when I pledged, years back when I've gone on very dangerous missions. I had to realize even then, and I didn't know how to really put words to it until that movie After Earth came out. But then I realized that that's exactly what I was experiencing, that fear the worry of the darkness, right? You know, when you turn the lights out and you can't see, or you're swimming in the waters and you're not sure if the ground is there, or if you're going to drown or not. I'm worried about something that may or may never actually happen. And so I teach people, I say, listen, man, do not believe in fear. Don't worry about fear. In fact, fear is fucking fake and it'll paralyze you if you allow it to. And so I teach people that fear is fake. It's not real. It's in your imagination. It is a boogeyman that you've created that makes you think that something might or might not ever happen in the future. And if you don't worry about what might or might not necessarily happen, and instead concentrate on the dangers of what you're going through, then you'll be able to navigate life a lot easier. So I don't teach fear. I tell people, in fact, let's figure out a way to eradicate fear. I think fear has an acronym, which is false evidence appearing real. So I teach my sons, I know you're afraid. I know that you're worried about what might happen, but don't be fearful, son. Don't worry. Don't fear anything. I don't want you to fear anything. I want you to assess the situation, make a danger assessment, see if you're going to be safe or if you're not going to be safe, and move forward accordingly. So that's how I feel about the word fear and the whole thing, the whole concept around fear. Fear is not real. Fear is a choice, and you have you can choose to not be fearful of anything at all.
Okay. Lee, I'm coming to you next. I gotta ask a question before you answer the how to conquer fear. What would you say to someone that smokes weed, you know, because they fear anxiety, they're concerned about something, or they're turning to alcohol?
Well, if someone is using an outward substance to manage a probably emotional or psychological issue that they're dealing with and are unable to cope with it within their own self, I think one, it's a crutch. And any crutch that you tend to depend on for too long can become debilitating over time. Now, if there's a medical condition for which you're being prescribed the use of marijuana to manage maybe nausea or some form of other side effect from maybe, let's say, a cancer chemotherapy treatment, then that is to actually help you deal with the side effects of something else. But if you're dealing with some kind of emotional anxiety that you are unable to manage within yourself, and you're using the marijuana to help you cope, whether it's marijuana, whether it's some other form of drugs or alcohol, you're really defeating the purpose because over time you'll make yourself weaker, more dependent, and in time, the drug that you're using to help you keep a stable and emotional, mental and emotional being will crumble, and you'll become probably clinical at some point, or maybe hospitalization in some form of uh, medical treatment will be necessary to help you at that stage. And then that's when other things could trigger into your body, such as depression, because when you don't have it or when you're not able to use it, it triggers other things in your body. So it can cascade into other potential medical or psychological effects by becoming too dependent on something, whether it's marijuana, alcohol, or something else. Because the marijuana itself won't be the thing that mess you up. It's the psychological, mental prospect that you have as to what it does for you.
Okay. And then how do you feel about how to conquer fear? What are your thoughts?
Well, I have, I, I am pro and not so pro with some of the comments I've heard so far. Well, for me, there's two types of fear. There's the physical and there's the mental. Now you deal with both of them within your mind, but fear is one of our former instincts that no longer really is active in us like it is with animals. But fear is an actual instinct reaction to warn us of danger. So we can't belittle fear as though it doesn't serve a real purpose in the human body. The problem is, how do you cope with it, whether it is a physical fear or it's a mental fear? And I think the one solution I've found to overcome fear is developing courage. Courage is, I think, the antidote mentally to combat fear. To You have to bring yourself to the point where you can test yourself against that fear. If it's a fear of heights, whether through a coach or someone, you have to go to the levels of the height where it triggers your fear and the reaction through either a coach or a mentor or someone that you can work with as a professional to help you face the fear. If it's some other form of fear that you are just mentally, like some people are afraid of spiders, right? Particularly women could be afraid of insects and things like that, creepy crawly things, right? But they have put in their mind how those things trigger them to have a feeling about it. And they have created an entire story or picture within themselves as to why that thing gives them the fear that they have. And that's something that I think on a one-to-one basis they would have to confront so they can realize that the thing that you fear is really not so fearful. It's the story that you created behind it that you're afraid of. So a lot of times, fear is something that we create in our minds, and even the physical things that are actual of danger to us. The solutions to overcoming them comes from a mental state as well. And like I said, I think courage is the antidote to overcoming your fear, whether it's physical or emotional or psychological.
All right. What you got on this trail? How to conquer fear.
Um, I think fear is just simply a lack of preparation. In my opinion, it's just fear of the unknown. I equate it to like basketball, right? There's some players that in practice they can perform a certain way, but if you put them up under them lights, it's a different ball game. And typically, the difference is the work that they put in after practice is over, right? We hear these stories all the time about a Kobe Bryant waking up at 3 a.m. to work out 4 times in a day. We hear about Steph Curry putting up 3,000 jumpers a day when he was trying to secure his, spot as far as supremacy in the league. You hear about all of these crazy stories of people with all this work ethic, and then you see how that translates to the main game. When that game gets to the end, 3 or 4 seconds left, those same players that I just named, they're not fearful to take the shot. Why? Because it's muscle memory. I'm not even thinking at this point. When the ball hit my hands, my arms are just going to do it on its own because I prepped so much for it. So I think that's all fear is, whether or not it's talking to women. You got men that are fearful of women. Speaking to women, how to talk to women. Same thing. The men that are not scared to talk to women tend to talk to women a lot in all different facets, whether it's family members, whether I'm at my job talking to my coworkers, or whether I'm out at the club or I'm on podcasts talking to women all the time. So whenever I run into a woman, regardless of how attractive she is, it's muscle memory. I know what to say. I know how to keep the convo going. I understand that women want to run their mouth, so it would behoove me to just enable them to do so. It's not nothing to think about. It's not nothing mental. It's just preparation. You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the main hurdles as far as conquering it is just understanding the fact that everybody's scared. Everybody, everybody, everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to be approved. Everybody on this panel has platforms or YouTube pages that they trying to build and all that. You want to be accepted. You want people to come tune into your content. You want people to accept the clothing, the merch you putting out. You want people, you know what I'm saying? You want the respect. And people are fearful not to get. That's why you work so hard. You know what I'm saying? To try to build it and build it and build it. So I think understanding the fact that everybody is scared, and number two, that the sun is coming up tomorrow, regardless. Regardless. That's another thing that people really get hung up on when it comes to big decisions. I heard Ricky speak about, when he had his first kid, I felt the same way. Like, bro, I don't know how to raise no damn child. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, what? But again, the sun is gonna come up tomorrow. Humans have inept ability to adapt. You know what I'm saying? Amazing ability, pardon me, to adapt. And it's like it's gonna kick in, regardless of how hard it seems. Oh, this is my life. My life is about to end. I can't believe this happened. The sun is gonna come up tomorrow. So I think once you understand those two concepts and then you prep and whatever it is that you're trying to, accomplish, whatever field it's in, whatever industry it's in, go in overdrive to prepare. I think you can kind of tame fear a bit. That's how I see it.
I like that. Taming fear. Chicago Rella, how to conquer fear.
Yeah, you about to see me do that right now. Fear is coming at the tail end of this conversation, man. After everybody that unloaded the clip on me, what else is there for me to say? Right? I was getting aggy with Shan. I'm like, God, dog, he just stole my thunder again. You know, when you talk about false evidence appearing real, and I think Ricky hit it out the park too when he used the reference to Nike. You know, my role for what I do on my job as a leader, I'm put in a lot of positions where people look at me and I'm supposed to have answers for them. Might not have all the answers. And there's always that, I guess that the presence of fear in terms of, you know, not wanting to fail. And it's not because I, you know, lack of confidence in self. It's just like there's so many other people depending on you. And especially in this time dealing with the times that we're in. And so in those times, I have to recognize that what part of the learning phase, am I learning, or am I learning a new task, a new skill set? Am I building my capabilities and competencies, or am I owning and advising in the role, right? And so the way that I approach it, honestly, is do it afraid, do it alone, but you gotta do it, right? And you hear a lot of successful people, and I don't I know a lot of stuff is like cliche in these spaces, and a lot of, you know, the self-help gurus and stuff, when they talk about you know, fail fast, fail early, fail hard, but there's value in that. Because the quicker you fail, the quicker you learn, okay, that doesn't work, or what, and you can also learn a lot more from other people's mistakes. So that's part of the failing process too. It doesn't require you to personally go out there and fail, but the quicker you fail, the quicker you learn, okay, this works, that doesn't work, blah 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 blah. And I'll button this with this. My DM, she just did an exercise with us in our meeting yesterday, and she was asking, she said, she's like, who of y'all here, like when you're riding a roller coaster, who of y'all ride it, you know, your hands are in the air and you screaming, you excited, you can't wait to get on the roller coaster, take that first dip. And a certain amount of people raised their hand in the room. And then she said, who of y'all in here ride the roller coaster and your eyes are closed and you just want to get the ride over with? You may anticipate the exhilaration of it, but you just can't wait to get the ride over with. And a certain amount of people in the room raised their hands. And she said, okay, cool. Both of y'all are screaming, right? Both sets of groups are screaming. And everybody was like, yeah. Now, me personally, I'm the type to get in front of the roller coaster. I'm rushing. At Great America, I'm rushing to the front. As soon as that first dip hit, hands up, screaming, waving. That's the group I identify with, right? But she said y'all are both experiencing the same thing. Either way, get in there and do it. And what happens is you come out on the other side of that experience, and most times you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Think about the kid at school. Think about, or maybe you've experienced this. Well, I say me, I experienced this. Bullies at school, and you have a fear of fighting. You don't want to fight them. You don't want confrontation. And the first time you square with that bully, well, for me, first time I squared up with a bully beat the snot out of me, right? So now they won't let up. You develop a fear of them or whatever. That last time, my mom was like, and my uncle was like, yeah, you either gonna beat their ass or I'm gonna beat your ass. Which one is it gonna be? Right? I went now, beat his ass. Right? And when I beat his ass, I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Right? It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. He wasn't mollywopping me. It was, you know what I'm saying? He threw his shots, I threw my shots. I actually got the upper hand in this exchange that I remember particularly. And what it developed in me was a particular confidence moving forward. I went to school different the next day. I hollered at Laquita different the next day. Because all the kids saw it. All the kids saw what happened. So whatever it is, whether it's false evidence appearing real, and it can be paralyzing, Shannon, you spot on. It can be paralyzing because it is mental. But you got to get over that hurdle mentally and do it afraid, regardless. You got to do it.
Yeah. Just listening to you guys making me think about a time in my life. I think I might have been about, I don't know, between 11 and maybe between 9 and 12 or something like that. I can't remember the age, but I was in the backyard with my grandfather and my cousin Henry, may he rest in peace. He's no longer here. But I remember my grandfather was telling me something to do something. And I said, I can't do it. And my Henry said, what you say? And you know, you look at him trying to figure out, damn, did I say something wrong? I said, I can't do it. Let me tell you something. And I said, oh shit. I wasn't thinking about oh shit, but I'm like, damn. I don't want to ever hear you say, I can't. There's no such thing as I can't. And I'm like, what? He says, no such thing as I can't. It's I can. And like to this day, you know, I tell my kids, you know, ain't no such thing as I can't. There isn't anything that I can't do. If somebody else is doing it, what would stop me from doing it? And if they're not doing it, what would stop me from doing it? So I live my life as far as saying that I can do damn near anything. I understand the extremes, but we ain't talking about the extremes. You know, we discuss if I can do it once I get there, but I'm gonna still try to meet it head on. The thing that I fear the most is not doing it. You know, that's something that I fear, like that regret, especially if it's a moment in time that you didn't seize it. I'm about seizing opportunity. The opportunity present itself. You got to get it because it might not be there again. So I don't want to be on the backside of that fear, saying I wish I should and I could, and I said this before. So that's my thoughts about fear.
Hey,
If you got, go ahead.
now real quick, I was thinking while you was talking, man, it'd be interesting to hear like what everybody's number one fear is on this panel. JR, I think just expressed his. Like when you think of like what's the one thing that you fear more than anything?
For me, it's failing as a father. That's my and the fear for me is not one of those things I'm afraid. I kind of identify with Ricky, and I think you too, Trill. Like I got my wife pregnant at when I was 18 or 19, and with nothing, broke and pregnant, right? You know, so you can imagine what that was. And my fear is that out of all this inspiration and stuff that I post, I'll have done some good to the world and then failed my kids. That is a legitimate fear that I have. But it's one that pushes me to not screw this up. So let me put that out there as well.
All right. Anybody else?
I would say I was going to say that one, you know, but the one that used to be a fear of mine was death until my wife passed, and then I wasn't as afraid any longer. So that's what it used to be. Besides the fact of failing as a father, so right now I don't really have any fears because I've been able to see that pushing past what it is that I thought was going to be a horrible thing, as I think Trillman said, like or somebody said it, the worst thing that could happen typically never happens. You know what I'm saying? And so you operating in this space in your mind. So for me, I've learned that, and so I don't really have any fears that come to mind other than being a great dad.
My biggest fear is even though I know it's gonna happen, is leaving with work undone. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm at the point in my life where it's not even about me no more. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because like it really hit me like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, bro, I don't want to leave my wife and my family here with nothing. And I think way too many people in our demographic do that. Because if you're not passing it on for your family, why was you here? That's my biggest fear.
Yeah, I agree. I think mine would be just leaving this world before, one, I could stamp my legacy, and for two, me leaving this earth and my child's life not being easier based on my name alone. I think that's probably my biggest fear. If that happens, then I mean I ain't put enough work in. I didn't put enough aside for it. Like, her life should be 10 times easier than mine was. She shouldn't have to deal with none of the nonsense I had to at all. You know what I'm saying? So if I leave here before I'm able to solidify that, that is terrifying for me.
Anybody else?
I'll be honest with y'all, 1,000%, man. I was sitting up here thinking about it, and I was wrestling, and my initial thought was like, nah, I'm over it. So I was gonna say what Humble Dad said, like, this used to be a fear of mine, but one of my biggest fears is being the man that my biological father was. I work real hard not to bear the legacy that he left. I don't want to go deep. I'm gonna just leave it there.
Anybody else add into it?
Well, for me, I have actually lived a life where I confronted a lot of my fears from I was young. Public speaking used to be one that I had, but I overcame that as well. But I think the one fear that I would say, and I'm not sure if it's an actual fear, it's because I had an encounter with it when I was young. I didn't like the experience, and I never wanted to put myself in that position again. And that was fame. I never wanted to be famous. That's why I find myself in a very challenging place now, coming on YouTube and expressing my thoughts and ideas, because I know this potentially can, you know, I may become, you know, notoriety. I may get to be known, maybe not, and I don't have nothing to worry about. But if it does happen, it is a challenge that I have always looked at, because I was in a situation when I was very young, and I did something and many people knew my name, and I didn't like being surrounded by so many people that I didn't know. They are reaching out, touching me, calling my name. I don't know who it is. I don't like that. So I've made sure the walk that I've walked in life, that I made sure that I stayed out of situations where I could become somewhat famous or well known. I will say that what had given me a better perspective is since I've been in this country, in Honduras, because uh, I became a teacher, and I became such a good teacher that I am known throughout the town. Everyone knows me. The mayor knows me because I taught his son. I mean, virtually I cannot walk anywhere and no one knows who I am. So, but it's a much different situation where I'm not like in a crowd. So I've become a little more comfortable with the idea that, and I've saw some of the benefits of being well recognized also, because there are significant benefits. You know, I've been to the bank without no ID, no bank book, no nothing, and I still was able to withdraw money because the manager at the bank, I was a teacher to her daughter. She was like, "Oh, I know, that's Mr. Lee. Go ahead, bring your bank book later." You know, things of that nature. So there are some benefits to it, but for many, many years, I stayed away from anything that would put me under the spotlight. So that was mine.
All right. We all done? All right, seems like it is. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. I think we're gonna go ahead and get into the meat of the conversation, and then we're gonna follow back up. So we're gonna talk about the gender fluid, and then we're gonna finish off with overcoming rejection and what is good character. Hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Henley. So let's get into it. Jeezy and his wife, they just had a baby, and there was rumors that she and Jeezy are planning to raise a gender fluid baby. That's what they are. That was the rumor that was going around. I've heard some news today that may have changed, but nevertheless, I think this conversation is pretty interesting because there are conversations that are out there about allowing. I want to keep it with the boys, allowing the boys to express themselves, to be who they are. And so I kind of want to dive into this conversation respectfully because I think it's a very important conversation because I just want to know how we raising our men, our young men. How are we raising them? What are we instilling in their heads? What's going on? Let's just talk about it. So, thoughts about gender fluid and how the kings parent. Start with you, Shan. What are your thoughts about this?
I hadn't heard of that until tonight, and I would suspect that that's just people putting shit on people. You know, there's a lot of people that hate that whole Jeezy and Jenny relationship.
You know what? Hold on. I didn't mean to cut you off because I had the definition right here. Let me say what gender fluid is, and then too, whenever you discuss, it's not necessarily talking about Jeezy because we don't know what they're gonna do. That's them. But let's just talk about gender fluid uh, and how some people are open to it and our thoughts about it. All right. So gender fluid, I got the definition right here. I did see you in the chat. My apologies on that. Gender fluid people often express a desire to remain flexible about their gender identity rather than committing to a single definition. They may fluctuate among differing gender expressions over their lifetime or express multiple aspects of various gender markers at the same time. Okay.
I think it's all bullshit. To be honest with you, to give you my personal opinion about this whole thing, I think it's a lot of people just kowtowing to a lot of um I don't know. I don't know if I want to say it's political pressure or if it's people that's just out there trying to make everybody feel good about everything and don't want to insult anybody and like fuck all of that, bro. It ain't it's there is no there's like gender fluidity. Like, so is that saying like the boys are not boys until they just no, it's a boy and a girl. It's male and a female. It's a difference, you know. Those are that's girly stuff. I tell my sons, no, we don't that's girly stuff. We don't do girly stuff. We do boy stuff around here. That's what we do. And we leave the girl stuff to the girls. And so the whole gender fluidity, even with parents saying, you know, I'm gonna let my children decide later, and all this nonsense that people are having, I think it's just bullshit, man. I don't even know what else to say to it other than boys are boys and girls are girls in my world. And it's just that simple, man.
What are your thoughts about it, Trill? Gender fluid.
I think. Hold on, pardon me.
Come on.
I think that I think that society is just. Oh man, it's all over the place. My immediate thoughts is this: it doesn't matter what you label yourself. It doesn't. The world is gonna label you a way in regardless. So we could allow gender fluidity. We can tell our child, hey, you don't have to decide. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. But the world is gonna do that for you. And what I mean by that is, if I have a little boy who wants to be a girl, whatever the case may be, like he may have a bunch of girlfriends and you know, you may want to play women's basketball or something like that. Like they're not going to let you play women's basketball. They're not. It doesn't matter what you think you are. It doesn't matter how much I encourage you to be fluid. I encourage you to be. No, fact is you're a boy. Period. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think it's like a revolution in regards to just like what Shan said, is just being politically correct. It's trying to make everybody feel, you know, embraced and everybody feel comfortable. And that part of it, I'm perfectly cool with. But my issue is that when you have people who have a view like Shan has, or has a view like a lot of other men has, to where it's no, my boys are gonna be boys, my girls are gonna be girls. That's what it is. They shouldn't have to face backlash for feeling that way. And I feel like they're almost and like especially with like black men, it seems like they're trying to just find every way possible to just emasculate us. So like as you was reading that definition, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against, people I know for the algorithm. We ain't gonna even say the name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, like trying to force this new way of thinking down people's throat, I feel like it's just unnecessary. I feel like people are going to be who they're going to be regardless. But again, like I said earlier, society is going to decide that for you. You're going to only be able to go so far with that fluidity thing. There are going to be some things that are just off limits to you because you were born the gender that you are, and that's just reality. And it doesn't matter how much we try to I don't even know the word, but finagle it or whatever the case may be, the world just is what it is. And that's my take on it, bro.
All right, safe. Sir Hill, what are your thoughts about it?
Hey, so got a couple things. So this one is important to me, and so I don't want to. I want to give some perspective on this. So depending on where you are raised and what you are cultured to believe, your perspective is going to change. And I think that a lot of the parents who are thinking this way, and I don't think that the definition of gender fluid started and then people started living by it. I think that the definition came off of how people were living. And so when you go back 40, 50 years and think about how we don't need men, right? I can do what a man can do. I don't need men. And then you speed it up to there's a war on masculinity. And this is the natural progression of all of those things where we make masculinity feel like it's toxic, like there is something inherently wrong with it. That if a man being a man and having masculine traits is somehow evil or it's threatening or it's dangerous. I think because of the society we live in, I think a lot of parents are simply trying to find a way to create a level of acceptance for their kids. Here's the issue, though. Here's the issue with all of this. While we are so big on acceptance, I think we've lacked on parameters, and that we're confusing our kids because we don't have any boundaries that we're living in. We're so busy trying to be understanding. We're so busy trying to understand where they're coming from and relate that we're sending our kids into a world without any stability, without any foundation, because we want to be progressive. And I think anytime you're progressive without there being established boundaries, like I had a conversation in which we talked about the foundation that children need, that they need some discipline, they need structure, they need order, so that when they enter into their adulthood and become productive citizens in their communities, that they don't bring a level of chaos to it. And so I think with all that being said, this didn't just happen. This has been happening as there's been a war on masculinity and as we've made men feel like they are not needed. I think this is just the natural evolution of that. And a lot of people that are trying to be politically correct, but I think deeper than that, when it's your kid who comes to you and says, hey, Dad, I'm this way. This is how I'm feeling. It changes your whole perception about stuff. That this is what I want to be. It opens up your mindset to at least try to understand where they're coming from. And I think a lot of parents who didn't grow up with the traditional background that we had, like church and grandparents who were strict about these things, this new generation didn't have that. They didn't have those parents. They didn't have that foundation. And I think they're trying to figure it out. So that's my perspective on this.
All right.
Shit.
Go ahead, Santa. What's
wrong? Sir Hale, so what is the thing is with that, like the son that comes or the parent that has a child that comes to them and says, Dad, I'm thinking this. That is society put it on the kids for you, and then isn't it on us to try to keep the order of things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's what's that foundation.
I'm just making sure. Because to be honest with you, man,
foundation.
I don't know no men where this shit starts. And I'm not here to bash on women, but to be honest with you, it all seems to lead back to women. Just like you're saying, it's the whole war on masculinity, this whole toxic masculinity, which is a bullshit term. And it's all about men and how it's bad to be a man and things like that. And when you think about it, man, whenever you think about these conversations that pop up in the news or you see it on TV, it's always a woman there. It's never just you never just see a regular old American dad or a shit. I'm not even gonna say American. You won't even see a regular old human dad standing there talking about gender fluidity for my son. Because my son, he came to me one day and he wanted to have a talk, and he wasn't sure if he was a girl or not. And I wanted to give him the space to, no, we don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, because like we know a lot of relationships are well, a lot of societies are rooted in gynocracy, and then there's a lot of matriarchy involved, and then there's just a lot of cucked husbands that just don't want to have no problem, and they don't want to stand up against their wife because it's easier to just say, okay, honey, whatever you want, or okay, babe, let's rock with that, or and they got a woman just beating them down with whatever the fuck that she's beating them down with. Next thing you know, you get these docile ass men who won't stand up and say, no, we ain't doing that around here. What the fuck are you talking about? Chill on that. No. That's a boy. That's my boy. That's my son. And that's my daughter. That's my princess. No. And so a lot of this stuff just leads back to whether you know it, whether you believe it or not, it's just it's sweet ways to get around the word misandry. It's just the hatred of men and the whole existence of men and the existence of masculinity and the existence of what men do and what they have done for centuries. And now all of a sudden, because we got all these protections and laws and shit like that, and we got cameras and everybody has an opinion and everybody can record their truth, quote unquote, which is which is also stupid. They're now able to just talk shit and find a way to get the spotlight on them to get their little 15 minutes of fame. And sometimes this is just the way people do it. So
I want to respond to that. So I think so in these kind of conversations, it's easy to be black and white. It's very easy. And I have a stance on this as well. But I think that there's a little bit more complexity to this. Like, so let's take your example about what you're saying, like in the home, there's, this happens from women and, because men are afraid to say something. There are that suggests that you can be, that if you are X, Y, and Z, then your kids are going to be X, Y, and Z. And as a parent, we all know that that's not the case. Like your kids will determine what they want to be. And conversely, it's true that you can be all of that. You could be that tough dad. You could have that discipline, and your daughter still. And I want to make this clear that gender fluidity is not just about guys. So I want to make sure that we're not using this as a term to suggest that it's just about guys. But you can do all this stuff right. Your kid is going to determine what they want to be, period. Right. And I think that's why I said the goal for us should not be focused on behaviors, because this is what we do to men. We spend more time telling the man what he should do. Men go to work, men provide, men walk this way, men don't do this. We spend all of our time on what men should do, and we don't spend time on what men should be. And I think that in our community that we have to focus more on that. And when we focus on who they should be, that core, that foundation, then they have enough tools to be able to develop. And even if they decide one way or the other, they're going to always return back to their core.
Prayerfully.
Exactly. Prayerfully.
All right, Lee, it's on you. What are your thoughts about what the gentleman has said and gender fluid and all that good stuff?
Well, well, to me, I think I definitely want to put a little pushback on what Sahir was saying, because I do not see gender fluidity flowing the other way. I see gender fluidity flowing one way, from boys to become girls. I don't see girls becoming boys. So it's not fluid in a two-way within the society, or at least it's not being pushed, and it's not, you don't see examples of it. However, I think most of us are old enough to remember the war on drugs in the 80s. And I think now we're experiencing a similar war, and the war is on men. And I think it's on black men particularly because, black people have a way of making anything look chic, like it's cool to do. So if black people can embrace it, and black men particular, we can make it so everybody want to do it, and it becomes more widely acceptable. I think this is something that black men have shown over the past 20 years or so, from what I can see, that they're putting some real pushback on that. Because if we were an animal in the jungle, raising a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old and just let them run off and go to the water hole, there'll be lunch. I see, like if you watch big cats, when they have young cubs, the cubs are always playing and learning how to fight. When they get to about 9 months to a year, the mother takes them hunting, and the mother catches a deer, wounds it, gets it bleeding from the neck. Then it lets one of the older cub go and learn how to bleed out an animal, subdue it, and hunt, so it can provide for itself and survive. What we're not doing is teaching our children in the world of humans how to really survive. And I think as humans, we have done this for millenniums. But I think if you look at global population and what's going on today with all this gender fluidity ideas, along with these situations in the courts with custody being only being looked at in one direction, that the mother should always have the child no matter what. Men are looking at the whole change for the past 60 years and all the power and rights women have, and saying, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to participate in this so much anymore. And if you look at the society worldwide, at least in the Western European countries and those that follow that model, including Japan and Korea, all of those countries are falling below replacement rates in terms of their societies. And whether people are coming from India, the Middle East, or Africa, there's a migration going on and it's flooding these countries. And a lot of these people are getting very nervous about whether or not they will remain in power and for how long. Because if you don't have children, male and female children, you're not going to have a society. And I think there's some people in politics. I think there was a senator named King. I don't remember his first name, but a few years ago, he got himself in a lot of hot water for talking about this, because he was attacking white people and white men, particularly, that they need to get their act together and become men again. And I think there's a power shift taking place in the earth. And I think because women don't really understand the dynamics of running countries and running the world, they are pushing a lot of ideas that they believe will work. And I think over time, like I think Mr. Hale said, over time they may find their way back. But you know what? It's like a guy that commits a crime, go to jail for 20 years. Once he's free, how do you make up 20 years? Or if you get strung out on drugs and you don't recuperate for 25 years, from 15 to 45, how do you rebuild your life? You lose everything. So the time to recover may be further than your ability to make any difference. And I think as men, if we don't look at the world that we have known it to be and take steps to secure it, you're going to wake up in 50 years and there's not going to be much hair left. And that's how I see it.
All right. Ricky, what are your thoughts about gender fluid?
I think it's bullshit. Answer me this, right? I'm gonna piss some people off. Y'all just get ready for it, right? If gender don't matter, why is the word called transgender?
Because of the transition. They're transitioning from one to the next.
Right, because genders matter, right? Could that a female gender, a woman is usually of the female gender, and a man is of the male gender, correct? Right, see, these what these people do. Look, I want to address first what Sir Hale said about children doing what they do. That's an actual factual. We was all young once we was there, right? But your parents laid a basis, right? Your parents laid a base. And even though you go out in the world, and there come a time when you become adult, usually when you first knock a girl off or a girl first get knocked off, where you start questioning your parents' leadership, right? Right? That's usually when it happens, right? But if your parents taught you right, or even, let's say, even if they taught you wrong, I need y'all to listen.
Did you hear what I said?
Even if they teach you wrong, that's what's comfortable for you, right? It's the same way we sit up there, and now that we got older and we realized that we was raised in a toxic household, right? Your mama cussing and yelling at you all the time, right? You didn't know no better. So they teaching these kids 3, 4, 5, 6 years old that, okay, it's okay to do this, right? So when they go out in the world, no matter what, they're going to revert right back to what's comfortable. Right? Your parents are the main influence, the main influence in your environment, in your life. So what they're doing, if they putting this out to these children before they learn, because they didn't even teach these kids how to make critical decisions. Right? So you teaching these kids that it's okay to do this. So no matter what, they gonna come back to what they was taught. Right? I like to use the example just like a boxer, right? A boxer, he fights a certain way, right? He can go to a new trainer, right? He can go to a new trainer, but as soon as he get in that ring and he get hit and he see that game plan ain't working the way he thought it was gonna go, what'd he do? He go right back to the old stuff, right? You go right back to the old stuff. You go right back to the old fight.
Yeah, everybody got a plan till you get punched in the face.
Right? Right? And what y'all don't understand, black women, a war on the black men is a war on y'all. The war on black men is a war on y'all. Right? How look, they talk about these in these man spaces all the time. Y'all want a man to lead, y'all want a man to lead with no question, da 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 da. How a man gonna lead you in a skirt?
Did you hear what I said?
When y'all fighting over pantyhose. But the truth is, from what I see, I'm being totally honest. Y'all can take this the way y'all want. Y'all can take this. Black women, y'all be cheerleading this shit. Ooh, let's go to these drag shows. Why you want to see a man dance in drag? What's the pleasure in that? What's the pleasure in that? My, how the mighty Babylon has fallen, bro. These people want you to go against nature. Nature is God. And I keep telling y'all, this is what I tell on my channel. I ain't gonna say y'all, but on my channel, the devil and God be in front of your face every day and y'all don't see it. Y'all say y'all Christians, y'all say y'all believe in the Lord, and y'all sit up there and condone this stuff that they put in front of your face like it's cool. Oh, I'm all right. You know, I love everybody. Live and let live. If a person chooses to be what they want to be, nah, dog. No, ma'am. The reason you got a mind is so you can judge. So you can judge the situation. So you can judge the environment around you. So you can judge the people that's in your cipher. But they'll judge the black man, though. Right? They'll tell you AB was crazy, even though they was doing them dirty, right? But y'all want to cheerlead this bullshit. These your babies they talking about. In California, it's to the point now you can't even tell a teacher or the school what to do with your kid. This is in the United States of America. I've been telling y'all forever, it's a number game, baby. It's a number game. It's a numbers game, baby. And if you a guy thinking you a girl, that means you having sex with a boy. Can you make a baby? Where's the baby at? Where's your family at? If you a lady that thinks she's a guy and you sleeping with girls, where's the baby at?
Did you hear what I said?
God and the devil is in y'all face every day. Y'all supposedly believe in the Most High. Y'all supposedly have faith. It's bullshit. JR is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Hey, JR, real quick, while I was listening to him talk, you know what I thought about? Because I know a lot of parents, right, that have, I'm trying not to say the words, but y'all know what I mean. Kids that want to be of a other gender. But why is it, and again, speaking to the emasculation point that we all have been making, right? When it's a man that wants to be a girl, it's highly accepted, right? From the mother, I mean, right? But it's like when a man wants to be a girl, it's highly accepted. But when they have a daughter that wants to be a man, not so much. Not so much. I've seen mothers. I got an auntie. If we just gonna be transparent here, did everything but cut her daughter off for wanting to be a man. But the same woman, I heard her speak out of her mouth say that, if a man wants to be a woman, he should be allowed to do so. So that's what I mean when I say it seems like it's a like plot to like emasculate us. But just think about it. Think about how much backlash like girls get for trying to be men compared to men trying to be women from black mothers. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, the thing is, to piggyback what Ricky was saying, the boxer doesn't even get a foundation of a style in which he fights that he can depend on. Your kids in school right now are being taught these ideas. So by the time you as the parent even get to lay an influence on the child has already have combative thoughts for you as the parent. Because I learned this in school. My teacher said this. And you can't go to the school and protest. They'll label you and try to take your child away from you. I mean, that's where it's going. I mean, this is a serious thing. And I think as black men, we need to stand up and not only speak about this, but if you're in a relationship, you have a wife or a woman that you're in a long-term relationship with, you really have to stand up for this situation, because if men don't make a line in the sand, I mean, that's what men are good at doing, protecting. If we don't mark a line in the sand to protect family and to protect our sons, because just like Thriddle just finished speaking, they're not attacking the woman for the gender fluidity to go from female to male. The gender fluidity is solely from male to female, 10 to 1. There may be one woman out there that wants to go to become a man, but most women will figure out real soon, by the time they become 18 to 25, there's no benefit being a man. I have more benefit being a woman. There's no benefit in the world being a man. Your life is a struggle from the day you come out of the womb till the day you die. And hopefully you make the best of it and accomplish something for yourself, because if not, there's nobody looking to give you a handout nowhere. So that's, we're living in real times right now, man. We're living in Bible historical times to truly change the path of the world, or a destruction is coming.
And I wanted to smack something else on this, like, so it's like, especially because y'all know I'm a contractor for a school district, right? I'm an IT guy, right? And it's just crazy to me how you see the things in school, and I just be like, wow, but that's neither here nor there, right? So this the part that I think a lot of people miss out on this type of stuff, right? I was born this way, right? Now they trying to teach people, instead of, look, and listen to me, guys, don't take offense. The alphabet crew, hey, you had a right to do whatever you want to do. That's your body. I wasn't there. I'm not going to be there. You feel me? I'm not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? But I was born this way. right? And what people don't understand, that once a precedent is set, bro, it's so easy for the society to just fall behind it, right? So you get these people that no matter what they say, you, as they grow an adult and they choose their sexuality or whatever they want to be as a man or female, it's a choice. You chose that. God, the Most High, gave you everything you need, bro. Right? You can still like what you like and have a beard. Right? You can still like what you like and be a man or a woman, right? But then they're trying to teach, I was born this way. So murderers born that way, rapists, killers, robbers.
See,
Oh,
I
that
don't
word.
like
Watch
this.
that R word.
You see, I don't like what we're doing. And the reason why is because this is the drain that this conversation goes off the rails. We're equating how somebody wants to express themselves with crime, with everything else. And what we're doing is we're characterizing them in some type of violent way. And I don't like this, because when we talk about expression, we're talking about who a person is, not necessarily the behaviors as it relates to something violent. And I think this is the disconnect that we have when we have these conversations, because we're not bringing in biology, we're not bringing in hormones, we're not bringing in culture, we're bringing in the way that we were raised. Now, listen, I have a stance on this. I have a stance on this, but as a person who because I realized I was judgmental of people, but I was judgmental with the lack of information. We keep having these conversations based off of what we believe, without truly understanding that some of the biological issues or the biological changes, low hormone levels. Because when people go through these changes, what's the first thing that they do? They get on hormones, because hormones help to determine how you behave. And sometimes that factors in, sometimes how they are cultured. I just don't want to mischaracterize somebody who may be watching this and may be dealing with this. And what we're doing is making them feel like they're inherently violent or something like that. I want to make sure we don't do this, because somebody's watching this and may be dealing with that. And I don't want them to feel like we're labeling how they feel with somebody who's doing crime.
Great. Almost a great point. But you said, you took the words right out of my mouth when you said, I feel. What you
I don't think I said I feel.
No, that's what you said. You just said, I feel that we gonna interrupt those people. I
didn't say that. And one thing I'm cautious of is what I say.
Okay, great. I'm wrong. Cool. No, right. But let's address that, right? Let's address the feel thing, right? A feeling is yours, right? A feeling is yours. Like, no matter what nobody say, if they feel a way about a certain thing at one point in time in their life, when they make that change, they have to make a choice. It's your choice, just like it's your feelings.
We're talking about kids, though. Like you brought up that United support for children. Children don't yet have the mental faculties to understand the ramifications of the decisions. This is why I started earlier by saying we have to make sure that we develop a foundation in them. So what we're doing is we're speaking to their long-term decision, but we're talking in the sense that they're children. I'm talking about children who are not yet aware and experienced in life. This is what I'm talking about.
I got you.
So can I ask a question there? Let me. Okay, so I'm trying to follow what you're saying, Sir Hale. So you're saying we're talking about the kid, right? So you said that they need to have a foundation. Who is the we that's supposed to be setting the foundation if it is not us as parents or community leaders? Like, who is the we that you're referring to?
Yeah, when I said my point earlier, that's what I was mentioning. That's why we have to have that. Listen, guys, I promote fatherhood. I'm a married man with 4 beautiful children. I promote fatherhood, but I'm just saying that the way we live our life, everybody's not living this way. And I think that we have to open it up. Huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But at the same time, you may promote fatherhood, and so do I. But then there's a stance that has to be taken in order for your kids to see you take a stance, right? So, like for me, I'm under the guise of the Bible. So I'm rocking with Genesis, where he said he made man and he made woman, right? And one of those purposes was to procreate, right? So if we're just talking about biology, as Ricky pointed to it, if you are fluid, right, then it's like you get to determine when you are a male or a female, right? Do I get to determine then when I'm white or black, right? So there is what Ricky was alluding to, is that there's always a precedent that is being set so that they can have a launch pad to bring something else in to try to pull the wool over our eyes. So it is important to know that yes, we're talking about children, right? We're talking about children. Like I was a teacher, and this was in the school system on a regular basis. So the parents, I think Mr. Lee came across to it, right? That the parents and oftentimes don't even know that it's being taught. Okay. So when you say we, well, the we are allowing our kids to go to the public school to hear these messages, right? So you don't really have as much control as you think you have on your kid because they're with the teacher, 6 and 7 hours out of the day. And I wanted to reference this one young man named Bizzle. He's a rapper. He said something like this. He said they trying to turn your little boy into a princess, and they ain't even gave him a chance to be a prince yet. They sick agenda telling you to let him clip his member. He can't even pick his bedtime, but he gets to pick his gender. Right. So we talked about, you even said that they don't even have the cognitive dissonance to make rational decisions. But then you may allude to that it's okay. Is that what I'm missing?
Now, when did I say this?
I'm asking. I didn't say you did. No. I didn't say you did. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking because you haven't said that you have you said you have a stance, but you didn't say what your stance was.
I didn't say I have a stance. What I said is
I do have a stance. Okay. I listen well. Okay. And I've been listening. You said that I do have a stance. You say, and then you say I'm for fatherhood. Right. But then if that is, what does that mean?
I believe boys are boys. I believe girls are girls.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I believe. Okay. But I'm not speaking to necessarily my beliefs. I'm speaking to people's experience. That's what I'm talking about. So, like I said, I could be dogmatic all I want to about you should be this way. Let's be honest. Some of you, I think we miss the fact that there were some men who do all the manly stuff because we're looking at the outward expression of masculinity. There are some people who look like us whose lifestyle is completely different. Right? That's what I said. We're speaking to the behaviors and not speaking to the person. That's what I'm talking about. The conversation is more complex. I don't care. You could browbeat people. You could beat them with the Bible. We can beat them with your religious beliefs. The only thing that we can do is be responsible for what we teach and for the foundation we develop in our children. And when I keep saying we, I keep bringing that back to the parents. It starts there. Now, I do know that we give our kids over to the school for them to be taught. But I'm an advocate that we got to be a part of the school system. We got to be a part of their classes to know what they're being taught. And many of us we just don't know. We don't go to PTA meetings. We don't show up to the teacher, the parent-teacher conferences. We're not aware. And then when they bring that stuff home, it's new to us because we were not as active as we should be. Right? So listen, I'm not saying that this is right and I want kids to be this way. I'm just speaking to the reality that we live in.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about as well. We're talking about the reality of the ramifications that will take place later on in life. That's why it's important, as you stated, that there to be a foundation that is put there by the parent, right? But I'm telling you that because the reality that you're speaking of, right, is that parents are not engaged at schools, so they are not.
We agree.
Therefore, they're not going to be equipped to to talk that talk, if you will, because already we say to the kid, your teacher knows what they're talking about. Do not go against what your teacher is saying and believe what your teacher is saying, right? So if that's the case, then
I don't know that parents are saying that.
Well, it depends also, you guys are speaking about some parents that are hands off, but if you talk about a parent like me, I mean, shit. What's that app that they got me talk? I talk to the teacher all day long, and I see everything that they talk about, and I talk to my sons about what was taught at school. And sometimes you can't know, even if you not to be a helicopter parent and be all over exactly what's going on and asking for a curriculum and shit, and saying what was the taught and what was you guys teaching them and why were they doing all that and how come you were explaining this to them about dinosaurs? I mean. There's certain things that even the schools won't allow parents that are concerned to know. Because my children go to school in the Valley, right? And they around a bunch of white folk, and them white parents don't give a fuck. They don't play, right? They what's going on, and we got coffee with the principal every Friday, and We do all kind of stuff. We are deep into right there. Now here I am, the big tall black dad that everybody know with me and my black sons is around there, and they'd be like, okay, cool. And sometimes you just can't know. But here's my question, Sir Hale. What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting? I get what you're saying. You're saying I think I understand, but I want you to be clear, because you're saying, look, you know what? I want us to be careful, because we get in. This is what I don't like about these conversations. We get into these conversations, and there's somebody that might be listening. That what are you worried about us saying today that you want to protect whoever might be listening? I want you to be clear so I understand where you're coming from.
I think I characterized that when I said I don't want us to paint the picture like we compare them to a criminal. That's what I was talking about.
Did it sound like that we were doing that we were comparing the behaviors of this gender fluidity with criminal activity?
Not we. I think it was. I'm not sure if it was Ricky, but we were talking about somebody goes to prison. And again, if it's not you, I apologize. But we were talking about somebody goes to prison for some years, and when they get out, how are they gonna know what to be? That's what I was speaking to.
No, that and just to clarify, that's not my expression. So again, what I was using for that, bro, is that saying that if this thing, which we all know, look, we got to stop with this gray area stuff, because that's what the lies play at, right? This is a black and white thing, right? So what I'm saying is this: if the precedent is set, God, that legislation or anything is put out, which is it look like they're trying to do that, okay, this is the way these people were born. Where does it stop there is what I'm saying. Right? I love animals. I was born this way. You know what? I can't be with a grown person. I love little kids. I was born this way.
And they're trying to push that also. The P is coming.
That's what happens when you allow stuff like this. And another problem is, don't nobody want to play judge and jury when we all judge and jury. What happened to shame? Though people don't have shame no more. It's just like you could do whatever. It doesn't matter, bro. What happened to shame? What about having some privacy about yourself?
I agree with that part.
That's your business. That's all. And that's the biggest thing to me. Like, if you're adult and this is the way you feel, this is your belief. Those are your beliefs. Don't push those beliefs off to your children. You're supposed to be helping better them down the line. Right? Those are your beliefs, but I don't look, you can watch it on TV or whatever. It's everywhere right now, bro. You got people, soon as they baby come out, oh, he doesn't even have a name. We'll wait till they get older to give them a name. And they're gender fluid. We don't know what is this? You're not giving your kid no structure off bat, right? But then when your kid 15 and beating you upside the head with that old set of encyclopedias, then you want to complain, right?
Well, one thing I would like to ask Mr. Hale is, I mean, you said that you have a stance, but you don't try to, I guess, impart your stance, being that you are for family, but you don't impart your stance on others. And what I would say is,
that's not what I said, though. That's not what I said.
Rephrase it.
See, I believe boys are boys and girls are girls.
Right.
Listen, I'm a completely black and white when it comes to this. I just understand that there's more complexity to this. And what we've done for years, and this is my personal belief. What we've done for years is we have these conversations, and this is what I believe, and we've got not us on this panel, but I'm saying just as a community.
When you say we, who is the we that you're implying?
That my community. Let me say my community.
Black folk.
Black people.
So let me tell you what I've heard growing up is people didn't know. Let's just say they didn't know what they wanted to be. And I've seen people get beat down. You're supposed to be this way, supposed to be this way. And we spend all of our time telling them what they're supposed to be. We have no understanding of what they may be going through, what they're dealing with, where they're at. And we don't seek to understand that. What we do is what we do is more damage. And that's what I'm saying.
Are you talking about a career in terms of what they should be, or in terms of their gender, what they should be? Let me understand the conversation.
I'm talking about gender.
Okay, you're talking about gender, and you have witnessed that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's some parents, obviously, that want their son to be sons and their daughters to be daughters. If for whatever reason those children decide to go a different way in their life, I think there's enough laws in the society and enough understanding in the society to allow people when they grow up to be who they want to be. Choice is there. The problem is that I find is why are they teaching students in school who are first graders on, K through 12? Why are they bringing it to the schools K through 12? Leave it in the universities. That's
That's
where
what I
you
agree
go
with.
to. That's when you want to expand your mind and make choices, and you're an adult. But to teach a child where we all know, because you know, when you deal with the R word and maturity of women, immediately they'll say, "Oh, you're not mature until you're 25 years old." But then you're gonna go teach a child to think about becoming a different gender at 7 years old, and
I
whatever
agree
they
with that.
say, you're supposed to accept that. It's a they make the arguments to suit themselves based on what they're pushing, and I just don't like when, especially we as fathers, I used to have a question that I used to ask my students. If a man says he has patience, and when someone stresses him to show his patience, he has no patience, does he really have patience? Because patience is not something that you say that you have. It's something that you demonstrate when you put to the test. If you're a man and a father and you have a belief about something, if you believe in male and female, when you're pushed up against the wall with regard to your belief in male and female, you have to stand on male and female. Understanding how people in adulthood may choose to behave and act, yes, that's an understanding. But you have a belief in male and female and family. And if you don't defend that when the time comes for you to defend that, then when will you be able to exemplify that this is my stance? Making it a statement means nothing. Like I was saying last week on the previous show, that love is not a noun. Love is a verb. You have to demonstrate it. You have to show it. You have to do things to prove that you love. You just don't say empty words. And I think in society, we have become accustomed to empty words that people say things to make it sound good. But when you stand up for something, all of a sudden now you're the bad guy because you're standing up for something that you believe in. And I think this is where really masculinity come in. Masculinity have to stand up against the things as a wall of defense to know this is not permissible and this is the line where it will not pass. And we as black men, we have to stand up because the war seems like it's coming at us. And if we don't stand, if we fall, then there goes the rest of everybody else. They're
I
starting
just
with
want to
us.
I just want to respond to that really quickly. So I agree with what you're saying. See, what we believe is the same thing. Is my wife was a teacher, and some of the stuff I wasn't aware of. I'll be honest with y'all. I too work in the IT field, so I was unaware. My head books down. I did not realize that this stuff was being pushed at second, third grade. I had no idea. No idea. My first thought was these kids are impressionable. They don't have life experience, right? We're teaching them sex before other stuff that's more important. I am completely with I'm completely with you. I believe that boys should be raised like boys, girls should be raised like girls. My point for saying what I said is that we have to understand some of the nuances and the complexities that go into these kind of discussions. Have your stance, stand up for something. But the point that I'm making is in taking our stance, I don't want to step on people who don't know, who are still trying to figure it out because they didn't have the upbringing like we have. That's my
So what
purpose
do you
for saying
suggest? That said parents don't say nothing at all? Everybody can't be a psychologist and a therapist and to be able to sit down and understand a lot of the complexities of the mind that a lot of professionals have to go to school for to understand. Parents are going to be parents. And so if people are out there explaining things to their children that this is what you're supposed to do, and we're pushing this on our boys, and boys, this is how you're supposed to be, and daughters, this is how we want you to be. We want you to be nice and get off your knees. And we're doing all these other things. Are you saying that we shouldn't do that because that's all we know? Because the reality is that's all most people know. And if you're saying, well, you know what, we need to understand where they're coming from because maybe they've gone through some trauma and we need to be able to identify the traumatic experiences of our 4-year-olds, and we're not really sure. So you got to be a little bit softer when we are explaining what we expect of them, or we need to be a little bit more passionate, or what are we looking for?
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Did I say that though?
No, but that's what you're suggesting, because you're saying, well, be careful what we're saying on here because we don't know who's listening, right? Well,
that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
No,
right?
But that is.
I said.
Sir Hill,
I said I wanted to understand. That's what I said.
Listen, Sir Hill. Regardless of what you think that you're not saying, because you've said that like 7 times, we're telling you what we're hearing, and so maybe you need to communicate it a little bit different instead of asking us to hear it differently. You're saying it wrong, maybe, and even though it may not necessarily be what you're saying, and not word for word. And Ricky, I didn't say feeling, and I didn't say I feel. It doesn't matter. It's how you're coming off, and what you're coming off like, regardless of what you actually said. What you're coming off like is, yo, we got to be careful because there's people that's out here that may misinterpret this whole thing. And we're talking about criminals. And he said, when you get out of jail after 20 years, and so it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm saying, what do you think that we should do instead? And should we be more sensitive in the way we're speaking? If you want us to do that, are you suggesting that we need to be more cognitive of, like a therapist to a degree, on the people that we deal with, adults and children, before we say how we feel about them? Or can we just be who we think we are, raise our children how we believe that we want them to be, and let the chips fall where they may? And then again, like Brother Lee was saying, you know what? Once they become adults and there's enough protections and laws in place that when people decide to do what they want to do as an adult, they can make that decision and do that. But as a child, we're going to tell the children how we feel as parents. Because to me, it seems like people are doing the best that they possibly can.
I agree.
With the tools that they have. And so to be any more careful than we have been century after century, year after year, the way we've generation after generation, is to be almost exactly what we're talking about right now. It's like, goddamn, can I openly express to my own son how I feel that he should be when it comes to playing football, or cleaning up the backyard, or brushing his teeth every morning, or learning how to tie his shoes? And should I be a little bit more sensitive on, because I'm not sure what he's going through at school? And that's where it's coming off. That's why everybody's giving you a little bit of pushback, I think, because this is like, well, what are you saying, Sir Hell? Are you saying that?
I appreciate that.
Are you what are you suggesting that we do differently based on what you've heard us talk about? And I don't really hear it. I don't really hear it. I don't really hear you suggesting anything differently, although you're raising an awareness, but I don't hear the actual solution to it.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I can take that, and that is what I was doing. I was just bringing awareness. That is exactly what I'm doing. Again, like I said, I've seen this a lot. I believe listen, is somebody who has 4 children. I've experienced stuff I never knew that I would experience. And one thing as a father that I had to check myself is that I'm like, son, be this way, do this. I have no idea what he's dealing with at school. So again, my perspective is raise your kids, but understand them at the same time. Raise your kids, but get into their mindset as well. Because if you don't understand your kids and you don't understand them, it's going to be hard for them to hear you. That's what I'm saying. So I am saying raise awareness, but raise your kids fundamentally.
Did you think that you were wrong when you did that? Because as a father of 4, did you? And then how did you detect that? How did you determine that maybe you were, as you call it, I think you said browbeating. How did you determine that you was pushing something or indoctrinating your son or your daughter with a particular belief of yours without understanding what they're going through at school?
Well, it was 2 things. I was a terrible listener, and I'll just be honest with you. So I'm teaching them the right thing, but I wasn't hearing them at all. And I had to check myself with that. Doesn't mean that what they say goes. It is not like that at all. I'm just saying as they get older, how I was raising, how I treated my son at 7 is way different at 14. So I had to learn to be a better listener so that I understand how to guide them based off of what they're going through. That's it.
Got it.
But you realize that the question, it was basically asking us what are our thoughts about it. And so we was presenting our thoughts, which should not be taken any other way than this is our thoughts, right? So like if I'm telling you that I'm referencing the Bible, then that's me. That's not me beating anybody down. That's telling you my perspective in which I'm coming from, right? And so I'm saying that this is a thing that is very important to me because of how it is portrayed to be something else later. Like you may, I don't know when you learned about this, but I've been knowing about this since I was a teacher for 11 years. So I've been knowing about it for a while, and it affects the kids in the classroom in a major way. Having to figure out what should they call this person in class, having to decide where are they going to the restroom. Okay. And then that kid that is gender fluid is mistreated. Okay. And we talking about kids mistreating other kids. Right. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about you concerned about the kids, then it seems to me that you would want to advocate more for, the parents to be more involved, one, but at the same time, be against. I know you said that, but also with the legislation that is allowing that to take place in the classroom.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm with you on that.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying. But I don't have to beat nobody over the head from the Bible. I was literally answering the question.
I'm telling you what I did. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. I'm just giving my opinion too. I'm telling you what I did.
I know, but you had said that early in our conversation. We don't want to beat people over the head with the Bible, and that was right after I had communicated which reference I had. So I didn't get a chance to refer to that, but I'm just communicating to that. The question was simply, what are your thoughts about it? And so that is exactly what everybody on except I don't think Chicago really has went, but everybody's communicating. These are our thoughts, and how is it that our thoughts should be considered, should not be considered in the conversation, which is what we're having.
All right.
Fellas. So look, my goal. Yeah, my goal is not to. I agree with everybody. Again, my goal is just to add that awareness piece. That's really it, though.
Yeah, Jared, if I may just add a quick point to pick up on what Humble Dad was saying. One of the things when it comes to these type of subjects, and no pushback to you, Mr. Hale. I like the fact that you are here expressing your thoughts and ideas, and it stimulates the conversation as well to, I think, add to the voice of the different perspective of the audience that may be listening. But I think one of the things that sometimes some of us may find very prevalent in the society is that men who have traditional values and ideas, their voices are not permitted to be heard. And all the new voices with the nuance and the new ideas of gender fluidity and other things, those are the only voices sometimes in the room that are allowed to give their expression, and ideas that have been the foundation of societies millennia upon millennia, those ideas are shut down as antiquated, or we don't want to hear that now. So I think it's important that when we have these type of discussions and on these particular topics, that we do get an opportunity to express all of our ideas, so our audience can really see the point of which where we're coming from. And I think it's necessary to stand on what you believe. It's very few times we find, especially today, men who will stand on what they believe and speak it boldly. Because to stand on something and speak it boldly sometimes can cost you in reputation and different things in society as well. So as on this network here, what I think JR is trying to promote with King Talk, are men being able to be as bold as possible, to speak their mind and express themselves, and not really to take too much concern about how the pushback may come. Rilla, I think you haven't spoken yet.
I'm gonna go ahead and relax, Lee. You got it.
Harlem Lee back at it. Harlem Lee. So specifically to gender fluidity, I think as an adult, you can do what you like, right? Digital Underground, Shock G, do what you like. Cool.
Really gonna always bring it to some hip hop.
I seen somebody on the panel last night. They were talking about I've seen quite a few discussions when it comes to kids, and I'm just always amazed, and you know, as parents and even as a society, how much we defer to kids. But then I think Ricky was saying earlier, like, you know, kids, they can't make decisions on when they can drink, right? When they can smoke, when they can participate in the electoral process, but they can make choices at an early age, and some parents allow them. Like I can't get with that, man. My children, listen, your ass belong to me. I have charge over you. You my child, right? I run this here. That's a fact, man. I don't play that, and I don't understand, you know, why we got to play games and, you know, Timmy going timeout. Ain't no timeout. Timeout is the break I take from whooping your ass. That's the timeout. And get the channel taken down, JR. My bad, man.
Nope.
Man, listen, you like at some point, I do believe this. I do think what's coming back to this space, and I do love what I see from the brothers and what's happening in this space is that right, wrong, and indifferent, we are getting together and we're sharing ideas. But I do think we have to get back to the principle of standing on something. We got to stand on something, man. I just can't, man. Like, you know, I get it. You know, people as humans, people feel how they feel all the time. Kids feel like they want to eat the entire refrigerator one day. They want to eat the icing out the bowl, you know, when your mom's making the cake or whatever. You know, they want to stay up. They feel like they want to stay up late. Right. But as we talk about this all the time, as men and as fathers, what do? We bring the structure and the discipline. Right. So I agree. I think, Sir Hell, you were saying earlier, you know, you got to be in tune with your child. I agree with that. I cannot treat you know, I got a fat boy, man, and ladybug, right? I can't raise all three of them the same way. Can't treat them, they don't respond the same way. So I agree with that. But I also have a charge. To train them up in the way that they should go, so when they're old, they won't depart from it. Right. And so I don't, you know, everybody was cooking. I thought it was a great discussion. That is the little bit that I wanted to add, because I do believe that we as fathers, and we got to be comfortable, man. They anytime men speak as men, it becomes toxic masculinity, and then we got to walk this tightrope, and we got to watch what they say. And you know, I'm visible for what I do, so I got to worry about being on YouTube and somebody seeing what I said, and oh, you was using the N-word, and then you was cussing it. Man, I ain't got time for that. We got to stand on something, man. Our communities, dude, I could drive through the crib. I could drive into the city right now. It's 10 degrees in Chicago. They still shooting.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
They still shooting. We got way too much work to do. We got to stand on something, gentlemen. We got to stand on something. And when it comes to my kids, I'm not talking about everybody kids, but my kids and the children that I influence, or at least the young bloods that I influence and have conversation with and have a charge over, you know, I'm gonna lay it down flat, man. Like, I'm gonna lay it down flat. Meaning you make the choice when you are of age to make the choice, but you know, while you're here, this is how it goes.
Over there laying down low, really? Laying down low.
I've been taking lessons from you, JR.
I'm forward now. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef. I almost said let's talk. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the members, man. I did have to cut it on for members only, and there will be some times where it will be the members only that can comment. So make sure you guys hit that join button to become a member, and go green. Go green. Man, it's a great conversation, man. It was respectful, and granted, this is a sensitive subject. So I do appreciate us having the conversations, because that's what the Lapeef Network is about. Us having those tough conversations. Let's just have a conversation, as you often hear me say. So we did it. You know, it is what it is, and we live with it. Stand on our ground. Moving on to our next topic. Are you good on time, sir? I want to make sure.
Yeah, it got good, man. Yeah, I'm good on time.
Okay. I hear you. All right, y'all. We got a couple more topics to comb through real quick, which would be overcoming rejection and what is good character. So we're gonna comb through those, open up the lines, and see what you guys say. I ain't gonna keep y'all on too long, so I don't want y'all saying, "Yeah, I gotta go, man." It's almost like somebody leaving early, and we still got some work some work to do, man. So I'm gonna pay attention to you guys' eyelids. I'm gonna make sure y'all ain't pulling the J on me. Church say amen. You know, we all don't laugh at the jokes. That's what we say. But church say amen.
Amen.
Okay. Because I know some of my stuff don't be funny. So to help me not live in fear, I'm going to say amen. Church say amen.
Amen.
Oh, y'all left me hanging,
Amen.
man. We're going to have to work on this shit, man.
There's a little delay. Just a little delay.
I
We
know,
had to
I
get
know.
to the mute button. You told us.
Yeah, you told us to mute up.
No, yeah, okay, man. Y'all trying to pull my tail today, man. Okay, I see what it is, man. I'm gonna make sure Grain don't get y'all none of those peppermints, man. Y'all acting like that. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next topic, which is overcoming rejection. Overcoming rejection. And when I say overcoming rejection, we're gonna kind of break it down in three ways. We're gonna break it down in three ways, which is networking, relationships, and career. We're trying to build kings, give our intake, and hoping that we can build up our kings, man, to become great. And I think that rejection is one of the things that we so often struggle with. So I definitely want to hear the guy's perspective on overcoming rejection. You know, we'll speed through it. We ain't gonna spend too much time on it unless you want to, unless you got some valuable information. So I ain't gonna put a time limit on y'all, but let's dive into it. I'm gonna start with you. Trill, overcoming rejection. What are your thoughts about it, man? As far as when it go to networking, careers, and relationships.
For one, I think rejection is necessary. Um, we all need that smack in the face to let us know that we still got something to work on. We still got something to improve on. You know, and I know a lot of times, you know, especially men on this panel, everybody's successful in some aspect of their life or whatever the case may be. So it's like when you are successful repeatedly, you'll start feeling yourself. You will start, you know, ego kick in a bit, you know, you start floating on the clouds or whatever, and then you run into that situation where you think, okay, yeah, I know for sure this is about to happen, and then you get smacked in the face with rejection. It's like, okay, I still got some more stuff to work on, and especially in this space, right? Because everybody is content creating and different things like that, and there are levels. So we just gonna be honest, there are. There's some people that have massive followings, some people that have, you know, startup followings or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times, you know, you may reach out to somebody that got a big following, thinking that, you know, that they're gonna show love or that they're gonna respond the way that you think that they should respond, and they don't. And that's a form of rejection. You know what I'm saying? So you could either do one or two things. You can take that personal, or you could understand what is and understand, hey, I got some more work to do. I need to buckle down, put my head down, grind, get to where I need to be. And then next time we come around, it'll be more of a mutual situation. Same thing with women. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody done been rejected by a woman at least once. Even if it's not blatantly, it may be an indirect rejection. You know what I'm saying? But that just lets you know, okay, I gotta, you know what I'm saying, I gotta get my bag up. I gotta like work on my, you know, slick talk skills. I got some things to improve upon. There's nothing wrong with that. So I feel like rejection is necessary as far as overcoming it. It's like I said earlier, understanding the fact that everybody faces it. I know sometimes when you get rejection, you thinking, damn, I'm the only one getting rejected, man. Such and such getting the women, such and such got the money, such and such got the network, da, da, da. Bro, everybody that you pointing to done got rejected at one point in time of their life. You know what I'm saying? That just may be your time. But you know, you buckle down, put that work in, look up 2 or 3 years later, and you can be in the position of the same dudes that you pointing at. You know what I'm saying? With the world at your fingertips. So in summary, I say rejection is necessary. And that none of us is where we need to be. So we all need to keep on working. And that's just a reminder to do so.
Yeah, I like that. What's your take on it, Humble Dag? Overcoming rejection, network, relationships, careers.
Well, I mean, I don't think I can say it too much plainer than Trill. I mean, it's absolutely necessary because it kind of tells you who you are and the areas of which you need to work on. I'm because I'm thinking about when I was a kid. Like one of the things that I didn't do a lot of was lose when I was playing basketball. Okay, which one of y'all will see soon. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a hard time
Oh, really?
Listen, I'm gonna put it out there, so then I gotta back it up, right? All right. So, for real, like I didn't lose until I got into like high school, right? And so that was a rude awakening when I lost, and I was, I was my ego was broken. You know what I'm saying? And so what I had to do, I had to get back in the gym and work even harder. Whenever I was going to face that type of competition, as it relates to networking, I would be interested in knowing when someone was rejected, like at a networking event, because the goal is to bring value, right? And so if someone has rejected you at a networking, I guess, event or whatever, that sounds like to me that they don't feel like you're valuable. So which would mean in turn that they say that means that they don't feel like you can bring something to them in exchange for what it is that you're asking for, right? So like for me, I have a mentor, and so what I do for him is, I may bring him a deal, or I may just help him with his parenting skills. Not that I'm great, but he asked me how to do the time management and things of that nature. Okay. So as it relates to networking, I would just say that that person probably is not for you at that time. As it relates to networking, you probably need to go hone your skills a little bit. And then as it relates to the other one was did you say relationships? And then what else?
Career, relationships, and network.
Okay. And then relationships, there's just sometimes that you're not going to be able to overcome a rejection from a woman. You know, she's just going to tell you no, and that particular rejection, you're going to have to either deal with that, and just move on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So, so that is what my take is, but I'm interested in seeing what everybody else has to say.
I think I'm gonna dive into it a little bit too, man. Um, Overcoming rejection. With careers, I think people have to understand the fact that it is mostly about who you know nowadays. Some jobs, you need some college, engineering, doctors, so forth. It's a few jobs out there where where you actually need the education, but it's mostly about who you know, man. So sometimes if the opportunity is not there, it's not given to you. It's not impersonal, just how the game is. It's about who you know, which transitions into the networking. Um, we're trying to teach the young kings to build up their network, but it's going to take a lot of change. It's going to take a lot of change to happen before you are able to enter that network, because I've witnessed where I may have been accepted. I'm not looking to go be in a network, but I've had some credible people around Chicago that would reach out to me and kind of tap in just off the strength of, I don't know, it just tapped in with me. Even during the pandemic, I had somebody that was pretty known that people respect and reach out to me and wanted me, like, bro, we working out over here. I know the gyms are closed at the time. So, we working out over here, man. Why don't you come mess with me? So just like, man, that's an opportunity, seize the moment. Never talked to this brother on a personal note. Danny never heard his voice. I knew of him, but I went and worked out. I kicked it. So, and he has a large circle. He does have a large circle. So I do believe into people like adopting you. They seeing what it is you're doing and you respect it around a community or whatever space you're in. So I do believe there's some truth to it, but you might need to have to do some more work, man. You might probably not working hard enough. You're not positioning yourself where you ought to be noticed. When I move around, I don't move around to get noticed. I just do the work, and I guess it just happens. I don't look for it. If it come, it come. If it don't, it don't. I don't feel like I need to be validated by a circle, but I do understand the importance of it, the advantages of having a circle and having a network, because you just never know. I'm not above getting a lending hand or some help. So I recognize it. But when it comes to relationships, man, everybody ain't gonna like you, man. They not. You could be the finest motherfucker to this chick, and the next chick you be the ugliest motherfucker. It's like it's different things that make chicks tick. So what? If it happens, it happens. It's not the end of the world. They're just another human. I ain't telling what their deal is, and you just got to think like, shit, it ain't me, it's your ass. Next. Don't dwell on the situation when it comes to rejection, man. I know it's that feeling because I hate when I hear guys, and I haven't seen it too much, but I do see some particular guys when they get rejected, then it's the name calling. It's like, bro, if she don't like you, she don't like you, man. You came off thirsty. You came off too hard. You can get canceled. A girl can be feeling you can get canceled within like seconds. Could have been your breath. Could have been something you said. I always preach, brush your teeth and make sure you floss every night. So maybe you ain't had that together. Maybe it was shit. That was an alarm right there. Like, damn, through the mask? Come on, fam. It's too early. But yeah, man, we got to simplify things in life, man. I think we overcomplicate a lot of different things, man. We trying to figure out people, man. Some people you just ain't gonna never be able to figure out. They're just weird. Some people say I'm weird for calling everybody else weird, but I don't think I'm weird. I just think a lot of motherfuckers just weird. It is what it is. So it ain't my problem. I know I ain't weird. I know I can step outside my body and look at myself and actually like evaluate what I'm doing.
That's weird.
And actually it might be weird. But I'm comfortable
you can
being
step outside your body.
I'm saying not physically, but I'm just saying I can like look at myself and come back and be like, damn, that was fucked up what I just said. Or fucked up what I did.
Weird, but I ain't weird, but I can step outside my body and look at myself.
I know how it came off, man. That's one of the moments at the church say amen. Amen. Cause y'all not gonna do me right here. Not right now. It ain't that time. I was cooking, man, and y'all just got through. See, y'all fuck shit up, man.
You preach it, JR.
It's cool, man. It is what it is.
I step outside myself and I have a conversation.
I ain't say have a conversation. Now you're reaching.
Share.
Yeah. Share reaching. Motherfucker. So talking about I'm over here like that movie Ghost.
Fleet.
Sham, you doing the same
that's
thing.
my name.
But no, man, it's just being recognizing being woke on both sides, because I feel like the people that can't see it from both sides or from all sides, them the weirdest people, man, because you can't tell them nothing, man. You be sitting there talking and be like, this motherfucker just ain't gonna get it. They just not. So simplify life, and sum it all up, man. Don't overcomplicate everything when it comes to relationship networking. It's a formula. Most of the things in life, there's a formula, and once you figure out the formula, the cheat code, so to speak, you can then win. You can win at everything if you understand what that formula, what that variable is, man. Because it's there. We seeing people do it every day. That's my thoughts on it. Next. I forgot who I called on, so that's why I said next. So that's y'all cue to like whoever want to speak up. Not all at one time.
Me and Trill already went.
This is my thought. This is my thought on overcoming rejection. Okay. I think there's a blessing in every lesson, right? I take it as a learning opportunity. I take it as an opportunity for growth. So what I try to do, and I'm just speaking strictly to career. You know what I'm saying? You may be a salesman, you didn't make the sale. You may be a pitching a marketing plan, and you didn't have your deck straight, and so you didn't get the contract or whatever, right? Or you didn't get the promotion. What I tend to do is go back and assess the situation. Journal is your best friend. Hold on. Got mine's right here. This is your best friend. This is your best friend, right?
What's that, bro?
It's a journal.
Okay.
And what I do is I write down every
stop
day.
Throwing Bibles. I said, oh, shit.
No. It's a journal. I write down. I assess my day. Like what was my goals for the day? Where did I miss it? Where did I miss it? Where did I make it? What can I roll over? So the rejection, I take it as more of a opportunity for growth. I never take it personal, right? It's one of the 4 agreements that Miguel Ruiz talk about in the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personal, right? But you do go back, you assess yourself, and you make the adjustment, because sometimes that rejection is just it's not a no, it's a just not now. Right? You might not be ready yet, or they might not be ready for you. So even in the relationship phase, they might not be ready for you. They reject you. Okay, cool. Keep it moving. Go shoot your shot somewhere else. Right? But it's to me, I look at it as an opportunity for growth, especially career-wise. I'm glad that I've had an opportunity to work with some of the leaders that I have, because I can have those conversations with them. So what do you think is my biggest area of opportunity? Right? Where can I grow? Where can I get better? What do you see? Right? Here's where I want to be in the future. Here's, what tools do you think I need, or what capabilities or competencies do I need to develop to get there? And then also, still staying on the career path, building relationships with other people who are already in the position that you're trying to get to. Like anytime you have I do not take it for granted. Anytime I get a visit from my DM, my regional, or the RVP, most people get nervous and they want to do all this extra. No, I'm not going to do nothing extra. When you come and you visit my location, you're going to get a realistic view of what we've been doing, because I want you to be able to assess me fairly and accurately. That's the only way I get better. That's the only way my team gets better, if we get accurate assessment. And then I make sure, like before they leave or even during the conversation, I make sure I make it worth their while that they're there at my location to have meaningful questions that I can have them answer. And then I also make sure I always leave with their contact information. I make sure I leave an impression and leave with their contact information. So it's, to me, again, I don't look at rejection as a negative. It's a growth and learning opportunity.
All right. Trill?
I guess I can go. Oh,
Yeah, I was just gonna just touch base real quick. I think it's really important what Rilla said about taking things personal. And I speak about this all the time. Relationships are about leverage. Every single one of them, whether it's friendship or whether it's relationship. And the fact is that you don't even really realize that until you up. So when in terms of leverage, what I mean, right? So as a man, it was one point in your life to where you couldn't pull women like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, everybody on here older now, y'all didn't have sex or things of that nature, y'all didn't pull women. But it was one point to where it was a bit difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I want this type of girl, but she has zero interest in me. Fact is, she had leverage, you didn't. So what Rilla's talking about taking it personal, that's the specific situation for that. You could take it personal, you could have resentment toward her, or you could take a look in the mirror and say, look, okay, I need to clear my face up. I need to dress a little better. I need to, pay attention to what cologne I got on. I need to work on my mouthpiece. I need to do all this. And typically, that same woman that rejected you gonna spin the block, come back around and give you another chance after you glow up and get to where you need to be. So that's what leverage means, and especially in regards to networking. Again, like I said, there's a hierarchy in terms of whatever industry you're in. If it's content creation, if I'm in media, if I'm in accounting, if I'm in whatever, so where you may reach out to somebody and you may not be at the level that you need to be at. Whether it's you don't have the experience, you don't have the followers, you don't have the influence, you don't have the subscribers, whatever the case may be, and that person rejects you, you could take it personal, or you could look in that mirror and say, hey, I need to put my head down, get to the drawing board, so that way I can give myself more leverage to where that type of collaboration makes sense. I think way more people take the situation personal than looking at mirror and say, okay, let me improve myself. Because again, when you get up and when you got the leverage and you start looking at people like, I would like to give them a chance, but hey man, you need to put a little more work in, bro. I'm 500 podcasts in, you 3 podcasts in. Nah, you need to put a little more work in so I can see that you're consistent, and then I'll work with you. Same way with women. Once you get to a certain bag, right? It's like, okay, if a 4 is trying to shoot at me, it's like, you cool, but you a 4. You not. I'm pulling 8s and 9s now. That's just what it is. That's where leverage has placed me. So no, you need to work on yourself. You need to improve yourself. And when you spin the block, do what you got to do, then it will make sense for us to talk or for us to collaborate. So I just want to touch base on that. I think what Rilla said was real profound. You can't take it personal, bro. You got to look in that mirror and always self-improve. You are always the answer. I think Ricky said that a while back. You are always the answer. So
can a 4 become an 8?
Hey, I was going to ask Phil a question too.
Surgery.
Do you
Surgery.
do you tell them they're 4, Phil?
Oh man.
Surgery. Huh?
Do you tell them they're 4?
Nah.
I ain't rocking with you. You're a 4. Like I gotta.
Nah, man. I mean, the old me would, but the new me, the more mature, reserved, less arrogant, less cocky me. Nah, I'm cool.
That's what's up.
Shout out to Trill. I've been delivered. Go ahead, Sir Hill. What you got for us, brother?
First of all, Trill and Rilla cooked. So this is So let me give you a really life example of how I overcame rejection. So I don't know if you guys, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I didn't go to school. So taken out in the 3rd grade, homeschooled, real rough, right? So didn't get the social skills, nothing. And I was an ugly little black thing. They called me Blackie. I mean, all the names you could think of, pimples, all that good stuff.
What?
Plus I wouldn't get no girls. And what that did was, because I wasn't good at anything, everything was personal. Every form of rejection was personal. But when I got good at something, right, I became I became a musician. And then I started getting into the gym. I think what happens is a lot of people can't take rejection because they are not good at something. And this is what I'm talking about, why fathers are important, because fathers early, like, see, we think about rejection in terms of this bad thing. Rejection just means you can do better. And when we don't have that lesson that you're giving me something and you're capable of much more, you're capable of becoming much more, we don't get that early. We take rejection as I'm not good enough, instead of hearing rejection as I can be better at this. And so once I went through all of that stuff, and stop feeling sorry for yourself, because a lot of us guys do that. We want our mamas to feel sympathy for us and us to get hugs and pats on the back. When you take that rejection and you eat it and you start using it as fuel to let that be a barometer for yourself that I can do better, then that takes you far in life. And I've went from homelessness, like straight up, like homeless, like straight up homelessness. I slept in a hospital, slept outside. I'm nearly ate at the garbage can outside. I took all of that rejection and became something. Like, my wife doesn't have to work. She's a stay-at-home wife. I raise my kids. We live in good now because I found a way to take that rejection to become good at something, so that when I experience rejection, it don't hurt as bad. As a matter of fact, it don't even stick. It just lets me know that there's another opportunity out there somewhere. And so I think the way you overcome rejection is quit trying to find acceptance in people who reject you, and get good at something to go find your own audience.
Yeah, I got when you was telling me that story, man, I remember talking to my cousin in college. I ain't gonna say his name, but it was he told my cousin that, because he was, I don't judge guys, nothing like that, but I just found it quite interesting that he said that a lot of women like him because of his body, he worked out. He said, man, they love it. And I've had to think about a lot of men, not all men, but some men just really mess with a girl. She got a banging body. You're like, man, it was kind of hard to pass on that one. You see that body. If you got the body and confidence, like, I think confidence should be at the top, man. It should be at the top, and then I think everything else will fall in line. But you just be surprised how many guys are not confident, how many guys are so insecure. In those moments that you don't give a fuck, you just don't care. And I'm not saying caring like to be dumb or stupid, but I'm just saying, like, you ain't tripping. Like, you're not stunned there, because you know that you the catch, and it's an honor for her to be in your presence. So if you don't have that mentality and you sitting up here trying to all in up in her face and looking at her like she the prize, then you're gonna probably get played 9 times out of 10. You're not gonna be mysterious anymore. You're gonna be predictable. She's gonna be able to figure you out. She's gonna know where you're not going anywhere, because all you do is sit here and wait on me. You got to get you a life. You got to be doing nothing wrong, but you just got to keep moving around, being unpredictable. Even in the bedroom, be unpredictable. You never know what's gonna come your way. You never know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna surprise you, but I think confidence is number one. And I do think it's some truth to what you're saying, man. You just get good at something, man. Believe in yourself, do you. Working out is a cheat code, man. You fit. There ain't too many guys walking around here fit. You may see a lot, but I'm talking about if you get to do a comparison, how many people really fit. Ain't a lot. So you're gonna stand out alone just right there. You got that confidence on top of it, bro. You unstoppable. And you get into the bag. Looks don't even matter at that point. You got choices. You got options. Tell me if I'm lying, y'all.
Nah, that's real. That's real, and that's why it was so important what Sir Hill said about confidence and how you get it. It's accomplishment. That's real. Just being good at anything, whatever it is. You can be good at basketball. You can be good at math. You can be a nerd. You can be whatever. As long as you're good at something, you're going to walk around with your shoulders a little more looser, your head a little more high. You're going to be able to talk that talk a little better, because I know that I'm gifted in some area. Now, there's certain people that are gifted in a multitude of areas. But I think the first step in confidence, again, is like Sir Hill said, bro, it's accomplishing something. And that goes back to preparations. Like I said, putting your 10,000 hours in, whatever it is. If you play the flute well, the piano well, football, basketball, whatever, but just get good at something. And then you're going to notice just a certain ease that you're just going to have, because it's like, I don't have anything to prove. I'm already great at something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what Sir Hill is saying, spot on, bro.
Yeah. We can get final thoughts on this, man. And the next topic, man, if you want to chime in, chime in. If not, then
I
it's
ain't even
cool.
say nothing yet. See how you do me?
No, I ain't. I'm just trying to be. I know y'all was kind of a little timid at first. I had to bring it to the church, say amen before I can get an actual response. So I'm just trying to make sure throughout the sermon I don't get that. I don't lose folks, trying to go downstairs to the kitchen.
Yeah, man. yeah. Well, I think it is like, as far as rejection, bro, the no don't matter. You trying to get to a yes. You know what I'm saying? The no don't matter. Like I just think it's part of it. If you out here grinding, it's part of it. You know what I'm saying? You chasing it. You can get 50 no's, but you're trying to get to that one yes that matters. Right. And I gotta definitely agree with all y'all saying, man. Like it when it comes to relationships, it's really about you being on point. It's really about you being on your square, right? Because it doesn't, like, I'm just a firm believer, and I'm not gonna give in a relationship, I'm not giving my woman no excuse. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you no excuse, right? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I protect, I provide. You know what I'm saying? I do what I'm supposed to do. So if I'm not out here smashing your best friends or doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, I don't want to hear it. Right? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, because that lets me know something's wrong with you. Right? Something's wrong with you. What's the real issue, right? But as far as when it comes to if you're trying to court a certain lady, right? I think it's just about setting a better standard. You know what I'm saying? Women hate going backwards, God. They hate going backwards, bro. You take a woman out of one bedroom apartment, put her in a house, bro. Shit, nah. Nah. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Trill, you can't leave. She ain't going back to hell, bro. She ain't going back to hell. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, man, like I said, if you on point as a man, you got your stuff together and stuff to, enhance her life, bro. It's her loss then at that point. It's her loss, God. And she gonna spin the block. They always spin the block, baby. Hey, big head, they always spin the block. You know what I'm saying? Tell her she ain't got no gas money. You know what I'm saying? Tell her she ain't got no gas money. Move on, right? And as far as a career, man, like the way I feel about, if we talking about this country when it work, man, this place got a shortage of slaves. You can always find another job. You know what I'm saying? It's a shortage of slaves, so you can always find another job, right? But like I said, you working towards the yes. Rejection is just part of the journey, man. If it was easy, a lot of times if you get it easy, it wasn't meant for you to have anyway. You're gonna lose it the same way you caught it. You know what I'm saying? So if you call yourself putting forth the effort, something that's supposedly life changing, it wasn't supposed to come easy. If it's coming too easy, your dream ain't big enough.
There you go. You dropping mics, man. Before we move on to the next topic, anybody else want to speak? Because I don't want to,
Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want y'all to call HR on me. I got to call it out already. So.
Well, definitely, I'm going to come at it in two different ways. One of the things I would say with regard to rejection is, the self-talk that we have with ourselves. I think that's really important, because, like, if you start out as a young boy, in the schoolyard, making friends, getting picked for the basketball team, playing scramble games in the schoolyard, that's where you learn to develop networks at a young age, how to interrelate with different people. And then as you grow up, you tend to learn how to talk with girls. You meet different people in different careers, because if you're shining in sports or whatever, You're going to meet different people. They're going to always want to introduce you to someone. Hey, this is my son, so and so. This is my neighbor, the doctor, whatever. Right? You'll get introduced to different people, so you'll get introductions. But I think something that's very important. That's who mentioned it? I think Sir Hale mentioned it, and Ricky as well, with regard to rejection. Rejection, I think, is really it's a tool to sharpen you as a person. It helps you develop yourself. It helps you identify where your weaknesses are in life, and it helps you to become better. Like if you find yourself always standing around by yourself, you need to develop network skills. You need to know how to introduce yourself to strangers, approach people, and develop a conversation. Some people have those type of problems. So that's one area. With regard to relationships with women, I mean, one of the things I think women are very good at is pointing out frailties or faults in men. So when a woman shoots you down, she's always going to tell you something true about yourself, one way or the other. The thing is how do you take it? Do you have the negative self-talk, internalize it, and beat yourself down? Or do you look at it and say, you know what? I got to get better at this, whatever it is that she might say to you. And becoming good at one thing, I think that's definitely a self confidence that make you know that you can do at least one thing good. But I think that that really starts from a boyhood stage of your life. If you're a boy and you're not good at sports, I remember I had a student a few years ago. He was a big kid, came from a very wealthy family, and he always got like he never got a grade higher than a 65. And every year you get a report on all the kids as a teacher telling you what's their competence and so forth. And I usually would review it, but I never took it to heart. And I watched this kid, and he would be getting 65, 60, 56 in my class. So I was in charge, being the English teacher, I was in charge of the spelling bee. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put him on the spelling bee. When I nominated him for the spelling bee, the whole class laughed. And I had some smart students. And this kid was about 13 years old, and he was almost 6 feet. So he was a big kid. So he pushed back with me, Mr. Lee, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I pushed him anyway. The second day in practice, he only missed 2 words. The first day, he was missing every word. I pulled him to the side and I said, go home. I want you to learn page 1 and 2 by tomorrow. When we came back and did the practice, he only missed 2 words. The whole class was shocked. When we did the spelling bee, he was a 7th grader. He came in second. And he came up to me, gave me a hug. He apologized. He was crying. Mr. Lee, I'm sorry. I know I knew the word, but I just got nervous. And part of it was the teacher that was asking was from, she was from the west part of, uh, of the United States. I think, where was she from? I forgot the state now. But anyway, she spoke a little different, a white woman. So she spoke a little different with an accent, different than how I would pronounce the word. So that kind of threw him off. But from that point on, it changed his whole perspective. He started getting 70s, 75, 80s. And this kid just turned his whole life around after doing one thing positively. But he had been pushed to the side all his life, people telling him, oh, no, that's all right. Excusing his lack of study and focus and not wanting to bring out the best in himself. And I was the kind of teacher, I'm like, I'm not taking no excuses. I don't care what that report said that you can learn. Yes, you can. So I think sometimes as individuals, we have to push people to their limits, because rejection, sometimes if you internalize rejection, you can tell yourself that story and start to believe that story. Like there's a saying that says, if you tell a lie long enough, you'll believe it. So I think sometimes the way you handle rejection has to do with that self-talk that we have with ourselves. Most people have a negative way in which they internalize things. Very few people have optimistic outlook. And I think it's very important to have optimistic outlook about life. Even when you get knocked down, that you can get back up and you can do it again, and you can fall, get back up, and do it again. So I think with regard to rejection, rejection is something that can help refine you to make you better. And with regard to a career, that one I kind of struggle with because I'm not really understanding the question with regard to a career. But if I may say this, you know, choosing a career usually would be about selecting something that you either have a significant interest in or something that you already have a talent in. And I think succeeding in your career is really about putting your nose to the grindstone. It's about dedication. I mean, I never took any training in teaching. When I became a teacher, I had no training as a teacher, but I was the first one at the school, 6:30 in the morning, and I was the last one to leave when the director was closing. I did that for a year. I worked 12, 11 hours, 13 hours every day, 5 days a week. And by the end of the first year, I mean, because there are things you forget in English, there are things you forget in math, there are things you forget in history. I made myself, I wouldn't say perfect, but I made myself so I was so competent that when I stood in front of the class, I had the answers for my students. And for me, that was necessary. So I think whatever career you want to go after, you have to work at it and push yourself at it. And if it's a career that challenges you, you will stumble and you will fall. And those are the things that's going to come up against you. And sometimes you go, like, for example, most recently, JR, I haven't been working. And back in the summer, I was looking at several companies that I wanted to get a job with. And I put in my resume, no response. Then in September, I put in another resume, no response. And then about a month ago, at the end of December, I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot again. I put in a resume again. The VP of the company called me back. He said, I want you to talk to somebody. He had me speak to the director of sales out of Arizona. And Jared and I said we were supposed to be having a meeting. Today we had the meeting, and I just signed a contract with the third largest logistics company in the United States as an independent contractor. So I think, rejection also proves how much you might want something. If you really want it, you got to go for it. Sometimes you approach a girl and she turn you down. She might be turning you down because of your approach. She might be turning you down because of the way you dress. She may be turning you down because she has a boyfriend and she don't want to tell you. It could be a host of things. But if you really dig the chick, you approach her again and try a different way. Sometimes you may need to learn how to be funny, tell a joke. How we approach a situation, I think, has a lot to do with how we handle the rejection that we get from it. If the rejection make you internalize it and say, I'm no good or I'm not that good, then that can hurt you. Trill said something earlier that I may want to put a little pushback on when he was talking about his sons or his kids to have a better life than he did. One of the things I think with regard to kids is that sometimes because we come from the life that we come from, we want to give them so much. I think we have to be careful with that because, hard knocks sharpen you. It makes you better. People that get life too easy handed to them, and I see it a lot with some people that come from very rich backgrounds. A lot of times, guys that come from very rich backgrounds, they turn out to be, you know, just an average person, and they're like their father and mother are so successful and they turn out to be almost nothing because their parents gave them so much they never had to struggle for anything. So I think sometimes we need to make sure that we kind of give our kids the opportunity to fight, to struggle, to learn to think through problems and overcome the rejection that they may experience from whatever it might be, because if we hand them the life on a silver platter thinking that we giving them the leg up, they may not have the dexterity nor the density in mind to be able to meet challenges when they're faced with them because they never had to struggle for nothing. So that's something I think that we need to be kind of careful about or be wise about. I see you thinking there, Shannon. What's up with that?
No, I have a different philosophy on that, but that'll be it. That's for a whole
Okay.
nother.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Oh man. We were talking about cheat codes, right? And it's kind of hard to follow up behind Lee when he came with that, but I don't care. I'm still put the cheat code out there. So,
Have
fellas,
no fear. Don't be afraid of that.
I
Overcome that.
ain't scared. Men, this is a cheat code. Whether you have a wife, girlfriend, whatever it may be, in the bedroom. I'm talking about this in the bedroom. So get your notepads. This is a world premiere. Some of you folks might be aware of it already, but for the people that's not, this is something new for you guys. When you slapping that ass, it's a difference. Try it. Don't knock it. Try it. You don't know how much of a freak she may be until you try it. Okay, it's a difference, right? Like, you do it. That's not gonna cut it. You might miss. You might hit it the wrong way. You gotta clap that ass. You gotta make sure you hear that sound, because if you slip on the slap, don't come right back again, because it's gonna seem kind of odd. You gotta wait a little bit. You gotta wait a little bit till you're getting it right, and then surprise it again. But if you go 0 for 2, then just stop. Just stop. You got to practice. I don't know what you're going to practice on. You got to practice on something. But when you connect on that first time, I almost said the N word, but brother.
So we switched to demon time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, man. It is what it is, man.
You know my story, JR, so trust me.
Yeah, man. You gotta, it's the things you gotta try, man. I know that was over the top.
Basically saying encourage her in her hole, bro.
Help
her out. You know what I'm saying? Let her be who she want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
Hey, real quick though, before we leave the rejection topic, sometimes, especially in relationships or with women, right? Her rejecting you is doing you a favor. And what I mean by that, I want everybody that's watching this live stream, everybody on this panel, to think about that girl in high school that you was if I could I just want that so bad. I want y'all to think about where she is now. Don't say nothing. I just want you to think about where she is now. And that's all I got to say.
Man, y'all crazy, man. So I fuck with y'all.
Blessings in disguise.
But the lines are open if you guys call in. I'll bring you up if you got to be on camera.
I want to hear some more cheat codes.
What about the character?
Huh?
What about what makes?
I know. I'm gonna bring it up, but I just want to introduce it out there because ain't nobody. I put the link up there, and y'all motherfuckers ain't calling in yet. So if y'all don't call in, it's cool. I'm sure the brothers don't mind getting off. But if you want to get a little bit of conversation in while you can, then I suggest you call up. I'm gonna drop it one more time. I'll probably drop it a couple more times, and then it is what it is, man.
Ladies, sit this one out. This for gentlemen only.
For gentlemen only. Yeah, gentlemen only. Appreciate that, because I know Miss Parker was trying to call in, but this King talk, so you know how we do.
She ready to call in.
Miss Parker.
Hey, yeah, there you go. Shan, Miss Parker. Miss Parker, something for you.
Where's the post?
All right, y'all. We're gonna move on to our last topic real quick, man. Again, call in if you want to call in. If not, then we're gonna respectfully end the show, which is cool too. We have an early night. We're gonna be too much longer. You probably got about another 25 minutes, real talk, another 25 minutes. This next topic right here, feel free to chime in. Ain't going to go roundhouse. Sometimes it take a little bit long. So if you guys want to talk about it, then you guys can chime in on it. But what is good character? This is important because I don't think people realize how important character is. Good character at that, man. It's very important. I don't think that you have to, I don't know what I really want to say about it. You don't have to speak on it. You just notice it. You don't just walk up to everybody and say that person got good character. It's usually after you had that conversation and afterwards, that person got good character, man. I fucks with them. I don't have a problem doing business with them. I don't have no problem hearing them out on that business idea, because character goes a long way. And that's why I think this is important conversation to have, because some people may not know how to identify what good character is. So let's talk about them. Open up the flow. Feel free to speak how you want to speak, and then I keep posting this link. And if nobody calling in, guess what? We have an early night, fellas. So speak on it. What is good character?
I think it's just being a stand-up dude or lady. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't matter if you disagree or agree with them. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they move and their actions align. Right? They move and their actions align. So they say they do something, they do it. You know what I'm saying? And even though it may be something that you don't agree with, I could still say, hey, that person got a good character because they move how they say they gonna move. Right? They do what they say they gonna say. You know what I'm saying? And I think we all make mistakes. I think we all fall off sometimes. We all lacking. We all human. In certain things. But I think it's just the overall picture, and that person's not going, out of their way to bring harm to you or your name. Right. So I'm just a firm believer in words matching up with actions, and I think that's all you need to see from a person is the words matching up with their actions, whether you like them or not. You know what I'm saying? How many times you didn't know? I'm sure Rilla can agree with me on this, even though I'm pulling them in here. You know what I'm saying? There's guys I knew that were straight killers, but they were stand-up dudes. You know what I'm saying? Stand-up dudes, right? The type of dudes you want in the foxhole with you. Right? But you don't agree with the things they do or the way they make their money or whatever, right? So that's how I feel about it. That's all I got.
Anybody else?
I would say just how tightly that they align with their code. I think every man got to have a code. Rest in peace to Omar from the Y. I think everybody got to have a code, whatever that code is, and how closely that they stick to it, how closely that they align with it. There's certain dudes out here that, again, have cognitive dissonance, just like Ricky just talking about. I'm gonna say a certain thing, but you look at my lifestyle and it don't mirror that. You know what I'm saying? Compared to certain dudes that'll take a L just to stand on what my code is. So that's how I measure men. Period. Like how do you prioritize what needs to be done over what you feel like doing? Most men, they gonna prioritize what they feel like doing over what needs to be done. That's why you got so many dudes out here broke. That's why you got so many dudes out here not taking care of their kids. That's why you got so many dudes out here that's again snaking their homies or doing their chick wrong, whatever the case may be, because it's like I'm gonna put what I feel like doing over what needs to be done. So that's how I characterize it. Plain and simple.
Well, I would say several things. Definitely for me, integrity stands at the top of that list. Integrity, I would say someone who have kindness as part of their personality, someone who is tenacious, and definitely someone who have grit, someone who don't give up. I think, good character is something that you observe over time in an individual. You can't always see it immediately because sometimes you have to observe, like Ricky said, that their words and their behavior are in sync. And sometimes you don't get to see that, when you meet them on a spot. But through observation, or if you work with them on a job, or if you play ball with them, once a week, twice a week, or you meet them up at the gym, whatever it might be, you know, brother said, I'm gonna call you at such and such a time tomorrow. And within 10 or 15 minutes of that time, you get that phone call. He dropped that information on you like you talked about. That's a man that has integrity. When he says something, he mean it. Whereas some people say, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and you never hear from him till you see him a month later. So some people just say things because it's opportunity. But men with character, and female as well, but men with character, they know their word. Like back in the day, we used to say your word is bond, right? That was, back in the day, you used to be able to shake a man's hand, and that was an agreement. That
It was
was
a
an
contract.
agreement. It was a contract, you
Mhm.
know, And I think that's something that as men we really have to kind of live on again, because we tend to lose a relationship with who we are as a person. And our words are just words, empty. We just say it because it sounds cool, but we don't really put no power behind it that I stand on this. This is who I am. If I tell you something, you could take it to the bank. I'm gonna deliver on it. It's like and Ricky talk about sales a lot. And that's one of the things I think too that makes you good in sales, especially once you have the client. It's one thing closing the client. It's another thing to maintain and hold the client. One of the things that keep you to be good at what you do and build a good client, a book of business, is your integrity. When you tell a client something, that you deliver on it. And sometimes you may have to take less on your commission because of delivering on what you promise, but you deliver on it. And you know what? Clients respect that. They respect you as an individual. They respect you as for the company that you work for, because obviously you represent the company that you're with. So I think integrity is really big in terms of part of the person's character. That what you say is what you mean, and what you mean is what you will do. And I think women respect that. Other men respect that. Children respect that. I think that brings respect all across the board. And tenacity is just an individual who won't give up. Tenacity, you're going to do it and do it and do it. Doesn't matter if you fail 3 times. Doesn't matter if you fail 4 times. You're going to get up and continue until you're successful. And grit is a person that's just not, he's not afraid of getting his hands dirty. A man is want to put his back into it and do what's necessary. Because a lot of times today, because we've got the Thule and different things, a lot of brothers not even trained with the hands no more. I remember one time. I remember one
Nope.
time I was in a big booth, and I was locked up with about, I don't know, 50, 60 guys in a spot. And this big dude, it was like 6 in the morning. They just let us out. Well, they let me out of a small cell, and I came out into the big lockup. And this one dude was walking around housing people's sandwiches, just taking their sandwich. And then he came up on this tall, slim dude, and this dude was, he was gay, but he looked
Hey,
at him
be
as
careful
like,
with that G
sorry
word,
about that, sorry
Lee.
about that. Well, he was, what's the better term for me to utilize, to use?
Fruitcake.
Okay,
Alphabet gang.
alphabet gang. Okay, he was an
Oh,
alphabet
I thought that
gang.
was wrong, wasn't it? I'm tripping.
So,
Yeah, there you go. Alphabetical. There you go.
okay, so he rolled up on my man. Dude stood up and said, "You think you're good with the hands? I'm good with the hands too." So I think sometimes, and my man totally, he backed off. He walked away. He got his whole situation chumped in front of about 60 dudes. But one of the key thing is that being able to have integrity and how you move is very important. And I think it doesn't matter what kind of a character of man you are in terms of the life that you walk, whether you're an alphabet guy, you're a masculine guy, or you're a female. It is important that you can represent who you are, because I've worked with some alphabet people that they were straight business wise. I mean, when you depends on business. If you what the higher you go up in career,
They do
you're
be
gonna
on
meet the
point,
alpha.
Lee.
They be
You
on
know,
point.
the motherfuckers be
They're on
accurate as
point.
hell. Huh?
Very
Motherfucker
accurate.
sharp.
So I mean, but what I'm saying is about the character in which they stand for in terms of who they represent. Their lifestyle, that's a different thing. I mean, you're not hanging out with them for their lifestyle. You're interacting with them in a professional way or whatever the case might be. And the thing is that you come across different people at different stages of your life, and you can meet some real upstanding people. Like Ricky was saying, there's some guys from the hood that got character that's their lifestyle is something that you wouldn't deal with, but the character of the individual is a man that you would want in your foxhole. You could roll with him on any level. So I think integrity is very important. Tenacity is important. Grit is important. And kindness. Kindness is something as a man, you got to be able to look down on someone that may not be as fortunate as yourself, and be able to extend the hand one way or the other. Be a little selfless, give to someone that had less than yourself. So I think that those are things that I feel that express good character in an individual.
All right. All right. Everybody else good?
Oh, I got something on this one.
Yeah.
So I think for me, good character is I set a standard for how I do stuff. I set a standard, and then I have the discipline to improve upon that. That's what I believe good character is. So there's a standard for how I give. There's a standard for how I serve others. There's a standard for how I'm going to be a husband and a father. There's a standard for how I'm going to provide work and customer service. There's a standard for how I do with my money. And then there's the discipline to know where I'm at and to make the conscientious effort to get better at it every day. I think that's where you see good character at, because I was talking with somebody and they were talking about, hey, in the corporate world, the goal is to get to the top. And my response to them is the top keeps changing. You got to constantly find ways to improve, to increase your knowledge, to increase what you know, and find a way to get better. And I think that when you have the discipline to do that, that's what helps to create that good character. And I think this can start with your discipline, with like being in sports or picking up an instrument and learning how to have the discipline to follow instructions. Like that is how you develop that. It's having a standard and then working to improve upon that.
That's what's up. I'll add to that. I would say, in addition to what everyone else has said, that character provides a win-win situation for everybody. So if I'm talking about it from a sales perspective, I think Mr. Lee may have said it. So if I have to take less of a commission, so for me, I work in real estate. So if I'm talking to a seller and I know that I can make a certain amount of money on the back end, then I know that to make sure that this person wins and feels like they have gotten what it is that they want, then I'm willing to do that, as opposed to try to take them from everything that I can get from them, right? So I would say, just to add to what everybody has said, that you want to make sure that it's a win-win situation in all parties involved.
All right, there you have it, man. You guys haven't already, hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to come remember, hit that join button. Taking a few calls. No pressure tonight. So if you don't call in, no worries. We got other opportunities. We got Broken Dusty tomorrow. Shout out to JB. Ray's Way, welcome to the show, brother. What you got for us?
What's going on? All right, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to touch on all three. The first one, I know that was a touchy subject.
Nope.
Nope.
That wasn't me. That was Rilla. Really political. But go ahead.
All right, but in 2016, the Canadian Human Acts Right, it actually put into law the gender identity or expression, the same thing that you had talked about when it came to gender fluid. Well, it's the same thing they're trying to do here. They're trying to just, they're trying to change the identity or expressions of people. And I guess when a person wants to identify as something, then it's going to be widely accepted. Right now, they're going through that in Canada, and it's a big thing. It's really a big thing, and they're fighting back and forth over this thing. And hopefully, it doesn't get like that over here. But people like us, that want to have some moral or structure, I think we need to put up a fight too. Because I'm not cool with that thing happening. I'm not cool with somebody recognizing themselves as a dog or recognizing themselves or as whatever they want to recognize themselves as, because it's going to become a problem. When is it? It's going to, whatever you come out as your mother, when you come out of that womb and you identify as a male or a female, that's what you are. No ifs, ands, no buts about it. But that's my point on it. I don't want to keep, talking about it because I know it's a touchy subject for some people, but that's how I feel about it. And
yeah, I felt the same way when they called me weird. I'm like, the fuck? Like, I came out man. Like, I'm not the W. Go ahead, Ray.
Weird. I'll be weird then. The next thing, the rejection. I look at rejection like I had a bunch of no's before I got a lot of yeses. So it just became a thing to me, If I just looked at it like I need to get better. So rejection, I looked at it like an interview. If you want a job, if you get turned down from that job, either if you want to go back and get it again, you just got to get better at what you want to do. Maybe you need to change up some things, maybe your approach or whatever. Even when it comes to a woman, And like Trill said earlier, like look at some of the women that rejected you earlier in life. Look at them now. I could tell you about a whole bunch of them. They don't look too good. I tell you that right now. I'm still looking like I'm in my 20s, and they looking like they 55. But that's another story. We keep going. But yeah, that's how you do it. Rejection is just a way of telling yourself how to get better. You know, and a lot of these young guys got to learn how to deal with it. Yeah, you're gonna get rejected in life, but like you said, like a lot of y'all said, you know, it's just a thing. It's another stepping stone. Better yourself, maybe your approach or whatever. However you gotta do it, come back around to that thing and get better at what you need to do. And the last thing, I think, good character is. I think you got to have like 7 of these traits. You got to be content. You got to have humility, dependability, grit, patience, honesty, and definitely as a man, you got to have courage. So that's all I wanted to bring to the table. Hopefully, y'all like what I said.
I liked it.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, Ray.
Appreciate y'all having me up here.
All right.
Word, liked it.
All right. We're gonna leave it at these 3 right here. At Quail, I'm about to bring you up, and then Coach, I'm gonna bring you up. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. What you got for us?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, y'all were just talking about character or whatnot, but I guess if I had to bring something, my granddad always told me that a good name goes a long way. So it goes further than anything else. It's worth more than anything because whatever your name is pretty much it's gonna outgrow anything. So it's gonna carry on, and whatever you say, whatever you do, if you got a bad name, then it could bring you down from anything. So like just say if I keep every job that I go to, I'm bad at every job. Eventually, somebody's gonna like if I'm in a certain town, then eventually I'm not gonna be able to find too many jobs because I don't burnt all of the bridges that I had or whatever circles I'm in. If I keep right on having trouble with the same people, then I'm not gonna have any more opportunities. So we got to make sure that we respect how we build our name up, because that's going to take us further and further and further, because that can get us to the next level depending on how we carry ourselves. So at the end of the day, if we think about how we do stuff and how we conduct ourselves and what our name is, then that's going to take us further than anything else in life. But that was the gist of what I had to say, man. I enjoyed everything that you guys are doing, man, and I hope that as a whole, that as men we could start at least trying to have a code that we all can stick to, rather than we some people follow something and others people follow another thing. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's real, man. That's why I speak a lot about resume.
Oh, my bad. Just really quick, Quell, did you watch any of the Sage Talks, any of the 3 episodes on Saturday?
No, I was at work, so I didn't ever catch that.
Go back and watch those episodes. We building on the code right now, brother.
Yes, sir.
Harlem Lee gave us a whole bunch of homework assignment.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Y'all brothers have a good night.
Good night. Well, I would like to add something to what he just said, because, you know, having a good name.
Hold tight, Quail. Don't go nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Having a good name is really your reputation. The reputation is what is attached to your name. And a good reputation can open doors for you, or it can close doors. So that's really what I think part of what KS be talking about is your ethnic image. As Black men, what kind of reputation how do we want to be known? And I think for the past, 50, 60 years, our reputation as Black men has been tarnished through media and different venues. And I think this whole YouTube thing has really given us an opportunity to take control of our own image and our own reputation and recast it and publicize something that's significantly better as to what has been painted of us, because people get an opportunity to see black men active in real life, man. Speaking their truth, standing up,
Right.
being responsible, taking care of their families, building in business, networking with each other. So we're actually building a whole new reputation and a name as black men going forward. And I think that's very on point.
Yeah.
At Quill, very on point.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're not playing we're not playing the victim, because we have all the opportunities in the world to do whatever we need to do. And I just think it's a lot of people that's out that's just not, even if you don't got opportunities, because I didn't come from much, I didn't come from much, and I built myself up to where I am now, and I'm having more and more opportunities. But I had to put myself in that situation, by not just looking at where I came, what I didn't have. Like, just because I didn't have anything does not mean that I couldn't be better than what I came from. You get what I'm saying? Like, that I'm not a product of my environment just because I was born in that. I don't have to live in that. I don't have to stay in that. Just because that's where I'm at, that's not the end of my story. And I'm not letting nobody decide what I become. I don't care who it is. If it's the white man, no matter who it is, I don't care. Like, I gotta decide that I'm gonna be better in spite of what someone has to say about me.
Facts.
Man, I appreciate you, Quill. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your story, man.
It all started with you, God. It all
Yeah.
started with you.
I want to say I'm proud of you, brother, man. I did hear you. I know you checked out. Chat is closed. This is the last caller coming up. Mr. Kosher Clinician.
What's up, brother? What's going on? How you guys doing? Can you hear me?
What's going on, bro?
All right, how you guys doing? Well, listen, this is definitely a very contemptuous process, one that's causing a lot of consternation for many. More or less, I would say that it takes great intestinal fortitude by the panels and many of the guys on this platform to more or less speak truth to power. There's an attack on heteronormative masculinity, one that's been going on for the last couple of years. I went to a great school, very liberal school, but you see it many times, the liberal indoctrination in a lot of the schools. And many times it permeates and trickles down to our communities. And so it takes character just to have this conversation, because this conversation is one that many won't tread upon because it goes against the grain and the norm of society. Many professional men like myself, being a licensed therapist, in academia in many fields, they won't talk about it. So let me say this, using precision and clarity. I think a person has a right to live their life to their own convictions. But however, I think there's something nefarious going on that's trying to shape the fabric of this country as it relates to men, but especially black men, because black men have always been the icons of masculinity. And so because of that, I think this conversation is important. It's very important, a show that I did recently talking about men protecting their inner sanctum, which is their masculinity. And that inner sanctum is that holy place similar to in the gospel about the Ark of the Covenant, where no one can go or more or less prevail upon. So it's important for us to have these conversations because as men, we galvanize one another as iron sharpens iron, but also it teaches us king lessons for men more or less standing on principles and standards when many times it's not necessarily beneficial to stand on principles and standards. And so this conversation is part of the inner sanctum of masculinity where men come together to sharpen one another so that we can have places in our lives where, political pressure or social pressure cannot break us, similar to what we had with our ancestors years ago. So this is a very timely conversation, but it's one that can be contentious by many liberal thoughts and also many liberal ideologies, to say the least.
My man.
That's a mic drop right there, Kosher.
No doubt, no doubt.
Man, I appreciate you for calling in, man, giving your perspective. Is much respected, man. I think it was clear and precise. So I want to say thank you, sir.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys keep doing the good work. JR, Shannon, Trill, all the brothers on the panels. Ricky Williams, brother, you be spitting some gems. You're a very logical brother, man, and you're a masculine man. And we need more masculine men as time comes, as I said earlier, where masculinity is under an attack. Also to the Sage Talk brother, Sir Hill Speak. Shout out to you, brother, humble dad. Shout out to all you brothers, man. And like I said, guys, stay on the wall, man. Keep the good fight of faith. And until we convince again, be well, brothers.
All right, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, no doubt. Be good, brother.
All right, as we come to a near end on this conversation, man. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I definitely want to have a little talk with the panel, man. That's what it's all about, man. I mean, the one thing I respect is when people stand on their stance or their argument, because there are so many people that think like us. You know, they just sometimes they don't speak up, but we speaking up about it. So I appreciate the honesty, the transparency, the conversations that we have on this platform. It's not with the intent to be disrespectful, but I think it is good for us just to have a conversation. You know, see what it is. You can come to your own conclusions once you leave here, but at least we having a conversation and we can do it respectfully. So I want to thank my special guest of the night, Sir Hale Speaks. I know really been dropping this YouTube channel in the chat, so make sure you guys follow him. Each and every last one of these brothers have a platform, so make sure you guys just type it in and reach out. They're not hard to find. You know, we all see the same content circling around and the suggestions. You know how YouTube works, man. But these brothers have some great platforms, and I appreciate what they bring to King Talk. And I just want to say thank you guys out there. You know, without you guys, we would not be where we are. We definitely have the support tonight, as usual. Salute to the green members. I see you guys. Definitely got to shout you guys out because you guys can be members anywhere else, but you chose here, and that doesn't go unnoticed. It's been a real show, man. I just want to say thank you again, fellas. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the rest of your evening, man. And we're going to do it again next Tuesday. Sir, I definitely want to have you back again, sir. So I'm going to definitely keep you in mind, and my word is bond. All right? All right, we out here, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to that sponsor, T. Charlie, man. Make sure you guys cop that T. Charlie. That link is posted at the top of the chat. Get yourself a free gift. Shout out to T. Charlie. It's too early. Y'all know about that. It's before your time, fam. It's before your time. Feel the teach.
Yes, sir.
It's too early. It's too early. Feel the teach. Bro. Let the teach force be with you. Let the teach force be with you. All right, y'all. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out, man. Appreciate the constant support. Shout out to King Talk. Catch us next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central Time. Tomorrow we got the JB Broken Dusty show coming on at 8 o'clock CST time. That's Central Time, just in case you didn't know. Thursday we got Lapeef Let's Talk. Friday's a chill day. Saturday we got Sage Talk with Mr. Lee. Sunday Lapeef Sports, and Sunday night Amir. Back at it again. We had another banger this past Monday. If you guys had the opportunity to check out Kay and Kayla's show, make sure you guys go check that out too. Subscribe to the network, man. It's a lot of great things that's happening on the network, and I would hate for you to miss it. The key so that you don't miss it is to set the notifications to all. So click that little bell, hyphen up, scroll up, however you want to say it, and select all. That's the cheat code right there. Y'all make sure y'all slap some ass tonight, and make sure you guys brush your teeth and floss, man. It's very important to make sure that your breath don't come off as intimidating. We don't want no intimidating breath, so make sure you brush your teeth before you go to sleep tonight, and also floss. That'll help with those little, that golden nuggets y'all got down at the bottom. You know what it is, man. Thank you, guys. Shout out to the Green Gang. Let me do it one more time for y'all, man, because I just really love the fact that you guys keep hitting that shit right there. God damn it, Green. Go Green, man. Hit that joint while I become a member. And I'm in this chat, man.